This content is brought to you by the Layers and Legends Kickstarter, coming in early 2022. Are you a dungeon master looking to reduce your prep time but still run awesome games for your players? Would you like professional pre-made 5th edition adventures, maps, traps, puzzles, magic items, and other resources you can drag and drop into your existing campaign? The Layers and Legends Kickstarter will create 2 gorgeous hardcover books for dungeon masters containing all of this and more. The first book, Layers and Legends, will deliver 25 5th edition compatible adventures spanning levels 1 to 15 and over 100 new terrifying monsters to pit against your players. The second book, Loot and Lore, will deliver 50 magic items, 25 puzzles, 40 traps, 10 factions, 30 standalone encounters with maps, 30 villains, 30 NPCs, 70 random tables, 30 adventure ideas, 20 spells, and 4 subclasses. And through the beauty of Kickstarter and stretch goals, we'll be able to commission beautiful artwork for both books and add even more content. Furthermore, in addition to the hardcovers, you can also get both books in PDF format and a digital map pack containing all the maps from both books. And if you'd like to pick up a hardcover copy of our last Kickstarter, Into the Fae, it will be available as an add-on to Layers and Legends. Click the link below to join the Layers and Legends email list and get notified when it goes live in early 2022.
All right, I gotta get some coffee. My daughter my daughter brought this special coffee home. She works at Starbucks now, and she brought this special coffee home that sounds really good. It has like really good stuff sounding in it. It didn't smell good. It tastes like normal coffee. So I'm just gonna be going back to my Meyer brand, which is kind of like Walmart brand, which actually has flavor to it. Sometimes you don't get what you pay for. Actually, it was free, so I kind of am getting what I pay for. But if I were to buy it from Starbucks, I'm pretty sure the bag is like $15 to $20. So anyway, hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? Heather Burke, hello. How are you? Good to see you. To everybody who was saying that I'm late, I crap you not. Every single stream, the thought goes through my head of intentionally making myself even later just to spite you. Like I have the sort of personality where if somebody's like, you know, oh, Luke's always late, and they complain, then I'm later, you know, and they're like, Luke, you always mispronounce stuff. Well, then I mispronounce stuff even more. That's like, I don't know why I have that personality, but that's just kind of how I am. That's how I respond to criticism. I'm like, oh, you don't like that? Okay, I'm gonna double down. I am a double downer. So I just want you to know that that's the type of maniac you're dealing with. Wendy Porter, hello, how you doing? Brent Mizzle, what's up? Oh, Gaming Booger, I saw you, dude. What's up, dude? Sakul HD, hello. One day Luke will just be an hour late. Yes. And then I will show up an hour late and I'll be like, hello. Yes. It's good to see you. Oh, what? I'm late? Really? Oh, I didn't realize it. I'm so sorry. Text or Zombie says, Luke, you always give me free money all the time. Come on, man. What the heck? I do? I give you free money? Oh. Well, you're welcome. I didn't realize I gave you free money. Lynn Dark Knight, hello, how you doing? Colonel, what's up, dude? Melicor, hello, how you doing? Lately late Luke is late. Kager, what's up, dude? Wookie Pyra, hello. I'm catching up to Luke. I told my wife we could only have 3 cats, so we compromised, and now we have 5 cats. I like your wife, dude. Like, you know, in a good way. Now, I'm not trying to... Wookie Pirate, I'm not trying to take your wife. I swear to you. It was totally meant... I'm going to move on to the next person now. Samantha, hello, how you doing? Good to see you. I see your question. Your question will go into the spreadsheet, and it will be given due consideration. which means that it has a chance. So you're saying I have a chance? Yes. Say that in the barbarian's voice, Luke. Say what? Oh, I didn't. Your wife. I wasn't hitting on your wife. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit on your wife. You have some free money? No, that's not how the world works. Radiance Guardians, hello. Penguin Butt, what's up? How you doing? Charles Iffy, what's up, dude? Always watch your content. You made me better at DM. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that, man. That is my goal. Literally my goal of making all my dumb videos is to help people just be dungeon masters, because the people who make the products don't help you. So somebody's got to do it, right? That's my thing, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna stick with that story. Heather says, woot, a chance. Yes, you have a chance. There's always a chance. Goliath Cleric, what's up, dude? How you doing, buddy? Daniel, hello. How you doing? This coffee is not as good as I thought it was going to be. Let's go. I'm going to die really quick. I'll be right back. I'm going to tell you what this coffee is so that you don't get it, because it is miserable. We're going to go to the camera. Hold on a second. All right, this is literally the coffee cam. Starbucks Tribute Blend. I don't know what it's a tribute to. I literally don't know why it's called Tribute. What are we tributing? Anyway, it's a dumb name. They probably have a story for it. That's really emotionally stirring. Anyway, it has notes of black cherry. I did not taste any black cherry, and I like cherries a lot. I live in Michigan where we make black cherries, so I know what black cherries taste like, and I did not detect any black cherries, just for the record. And baking spices. I don't think I tasted any baking spices. Nope, it just tastes like black coffee with no flavor whatsoever. It's a medium roast, which is okay. I prefer dark roast myself. I don't know. You're committed to 100% ethical coffee sourcing. That's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what the heck. Herbal Sumatra, chocolatey. There's no chocolatey. There's no chocolate flavor whatsoever. Fruit forward Ethiopia. What the heck does fruit forward mean? I have no idea what that means. 4 distinct notes in perfect harmony brought out. There's no notes at all. There are 0 notes in this coffee. I'm sorry. This coffee. Okay, tasting notes. Okay, here we go. Here's the summary. Generous notes of black cherry. No. I detected nothing. Sweet herbals and baking spices and chocolatey mouthfeel. Dude, nothing. This coffee is an absolute failure. My cat wants attention. Hello, mommy. Mommy wants attention. Yeah, don't get this coffee, people. This is absolutely miserable. I've never had a coffee at Starbucks that I liked. Never. I'm not kidding you. I go to Big B. I go to Big B Coffee, which used to be called Beaners, but of course they got in trouble because people didn't like that word. You know, I lived in Central America. My wife was from Central America. We have no problem with the word beaners. In fact, my wife, the people down where I was living in Central America thought it was funny. They'd call each other frijoleros. It's not a big deal. But yeah, of course, they couldn't be called beaners. They had to change to Big B. But anyway, the point is, Big B is amazing. I love their coffee. Starbucks, not so much. I probably just got a bunch of people upset at me. Lo siento mucho. No fue mi intención ofenderte. All right. You guys want to start this? You guys want to get this going? Stephen Newton, hello. How you doing? Jonathan Schmidt, what's up, dude? Melicor Wiseman says, this coffee is an absolute failure. Practically describes Starbucks. They run on milkshakes, not coffee. Kate, what's up? How you doing? Starbucks lies at times. Every company lies at times. That's kind of what they do. Oh, the charity. Yeah, we have a new charity. Sweet. Tailspire. I have never used Tailspire.
I know what spires are, and I have seen tails. I have 7 cats and a dog and a squirrel. So all combined, we have, let me do some simple math, 9 tails in our household, and I don't know what that is. All right, let's start this thing, shall we? All right, let me find some buttons. I can't find the buttons. My job is hard. Okay, here we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the coffee rant where I totally said that Starbucks sucked, because they kind of do. Anyway, live stream tonight, Q&A live stream. There are going to be timestamps down below if you missed it live and you want to just go to the things that interest you the most. Hopefully they don't break. Sometimes they break. But usually when they break, we have a wonderful viewer who like literally types up the timestamps, and I love those people. So Q&A, throw your questions in the chat, hashtag all caps question, and they'll go into a spreadsheet. So which means there's no need to spam. If you spam, I'm pretty sure I saw Penguin Butt and she loves swinging her wrench. So don't spam, be nice. Unless you're making spam sandwiches. I had spam sandwiches before. The first time I ever had spam, I was in Honduras on a mission trip when I was in college, and I had no idea what it was. It was good. It was super salty, crazy salty, and I didn't know what I was eating. None of us did. Like, we literally, the 4 of us gringos or whatever, were like, I don't know what this is. Do you know what this is? I don't know what this is. It tastes good. Yeah, it's really salty. We had no idea. So we speculated. We came to the conclusion that we were eating spam. That's what we believe. So yeah, that was the first time I believe that I had spam. I've had it since then. It's very interesting meat. Anyway, don't spam. That's the point. Don't spam. All right, let's get through some stuff here. First things first, we have a new charity that we have selected. We raised over $500 for the Capital Area Humane Society. So today I made a donation to the Capital Area Humane Society for $502, I think. I don't know, something like that. So thank you everyone who tipped. That means that we now have a new charity that we are raising money for. We are raising money for Bikers Against Child Abuse. This was suggested by our coffee elemental, Danny, and I want to show you this. This is cool. We're going to try to raise $500 for these folks. And there's a link in the chat and stuff. All tips go toward BACA, Bikers Against Child Abuse. Tips, not super chats, tips. Just to be clear. Anyway, these dudes apparently are bikers. And they don't like child abuse, which nobody should. Anyway, they've taken a stand against it and stuff. I thought it was really cool. So we're going to try to help them out. They do specifically, I thought this was super interesting. I don't know, maybe this is just me. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I have a weird mind. But they literally say on here, we stand at the ready to shield these children from further abuse. We do not condone the use of violence or physical force in any manner. However, if circumstances arise such that we are the only obstacle preventing a child from further abuse, we stand ready to be that obstacle. I mean, I know they don't like support like violence and stuff, but maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I have a deranged mind, but I would love to see a biker beat the living crap out of somebody abusing a child. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a bad person, but I feel that people that abuse children need to have the snot beat out of them. And they deserve it, and they have it coming. So I wouldn't mind if the bikers did that, but they don't. They don't. But if you want to support them, you can tip. You can tip. And all your money, 100% of all tips go toward BACA. Once we get to $500, we will give them a donation of $500 or whatever we end up raising, and then we get a new charity. But anyway, right now it's Bikers Against Child Abuse. I mean, if they literally beat the crap out of child abusers, I think I'd be even more excited to donate to them. But that's probably not a good thing to promote. So, you know what? Just forget that I said that. This is why I get myself in trouble. I guess I just don't like child abusers. What can I say? I don't know. All right, that's really bad coffee. Starbucks coffee sucks, for the record. All right, we got some more junk going on. We are doing a giveaway. There is a link in the chat. One of my lovely moderators will put a link in the chat to the giveaway we have going on tonight. We are giving away a D&D book of your choice, or store credit to the DM Lair store, where you can get back issues of Lair magazine, Into the Fae, the module we published. We have map packs over there. We have standalone adventures. We have lots of cool things you can use in your games to, you know, reduce your prep time, maybe improve your games and stuff like that. But anyway, giveaway, sign up for the giveaway. It's going to be very, very cool. It's going to be lovely. Layers and Legends, if you haven't heard, is the Kickstarter that is coming up. It's going to go live. It's my Kickstarter. It's going to go live April 5th. April 5th is the date. And we have early bird specials going on where you're going to save a bunch of money off from like the cover prices, and you'll save money off the Kickstarter prices and stuff. I mean, you're already going to save money off cover prices for being a Kickstarter, but then you're going to save more money if you get in on the early bird specials. There's going to be one that runs for 3 days and another runs for 5 days. So you definitely want to, if you want to get the stuff, pledge early. You're going to save money off from it if you get in early. Essentially, it's going to be 2 books full of Dungeon Master resources. The first book, Layers and Legends, is going to have 15 adventures is it 15 adventures or 25 adventures? I think it has 25 adventures. I'm losing track. I think it has 25 adventures spanning levels 1 to 15. Yeah, that sounds about right. And has over 100 terrifying new monsters. The other book, Loot and Lore, has a whole bunch of Dungeon Master resources, traps, puzzles, NPCs, villains, standalone encounters. I think we have some subclasses in there, some new spells as well. But 2 hardcover books, very, very cool. So April 5th is the date that's going to launch. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. We are taking all of our 2021 issues of Lair magazine to make the content. And then we're going to give it fresh new layout. We're going to do custom artwork. We're going to, many of the adventures we had to rework because one of our cartographers didn't want us to use his maps. And so we had to redo the maps and the adventures. So it was very fun. Yeah. So anyway, moving on. Those are probably the things I shouldn't talk about, but I do because I just apparently have too much honesty in me or something. I don't know. But anyway, we had to rewrite a whole bunch of stuff, and it was lots of fun, and I paid people lots of money to make that happen. But, and we got custom artwork, new layout, new stuff. Oh, stretch goals will let us add more content to it. So that'll be very cool. Yeah, so lots of cool stuff going on there. April 5th is the date. There's a link in the chat where you can follow the project and get notified when it goes live. All that kind of cool stuff. So, wee. Can you get it out of America like Europe? Oh, geez. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it'll be available in Europe. Assuming we can ship there. But that is a struggle in and of itself that we shall not go into right now. What's the other thing? Oh, yes. We have one more thing, and then we're going to get into our actual Q&A. So give me a hot second. Let's put this up. Oh, baby. All right. You are seeing a bunch of names on screen right now. All of these folks are my lovely patrons who help support all of the content that we create on the DM Lair. We have tons of free content available to help Dungeon Masters. On my website, thedmlair.com, you can get free adventures and other DM resources to use in your games, 100% free. We do not charge you. They are all very high quality. I literally pay people to write them for you. They are good. You should go check them out and use them. We also, obviously, I do the videos, I do these live streams. We do tons of stuff to help out the D&D community, especially Dungeon Masters, because we know that being a Dungeon Master can be challenging at times, and we want to give as many resources as we can to help Dungeon Masters. All of these patrons that you see help us do that. They provide the support that allows us to do all of these things that we do. They also help support Lair Magazine, which is our premium publication. All patrons get Lair Magazine every single month, and they get bonus content as well. They get map packs, they get city tiles, they get to hang out with me in group hangouts, they get to play D&D with me. So my patrons get lots of cool perks because they help support everything that we do and make all of this possible. So I'm super, super appreciative to my patrons and my YouTube members as well. All right, and then the red people here, they pay me even more money, which I take as a bribe, and to read their names out loud. So they get their names read out loud. I literally have a cat down here that I have to pet at the same time because she is super, super needy. All right, now I get to read these names, and I'm going to mispronounce half of them and lose all of these patrons because I can't say their names. I apologize. I have a problem. 5e Magic Shop, Aerospatial, Alex T, Amanda W, Ambers, Amy P, Andrew M, Andre U, Andy S, Andy W, Anthony M, Antoine B. Coffee causes problems. It's bad coffee. Arutha, Baldwin, Benjamin B, Brad A, Brandon A, Celestina K, Chris O, Chris C, Chris E, Cody B, Colton T, Contrary Draby, Corey S, Draxus, Dresna, Dutch, Ed R, Edward L, Ericos, Philip H, Flame Black 200, Frog, Goliath, Cleric, Gravy Chorin, Garamunder H, Ian F, Iron Lord 79, It's Baoban, Izzy T, Jackie Pizza, Jack L, Jacob K, James L, Jeremy W, Jerry W, Jessica J, JM, John A, Joseph H, Josh S, Justin P, Kale S, KK, Keith L, Kevin F, Kezides, Kirby, Kyle G, Kyle M, Labraworks, Leopold X92, Leon Hart, Marwin R, Matthew J, Melinda G, Maristal, Mr. Link, Nakanuku, Mr. T, Nikita S, Owen D, Penguin Butt, PRP, published author, Radiance Guardians, Ramus, Razlik, Race W, Renner C, Robert C, Ron R, Ronald, Ryan, SG Sounders, Sakura, Sir John, Shane L, Sheila A, Snapbragger, Snowy Tiggy, Son of a Sofa Man, Soul Naya, Status Live, Stephen T, Steve D, Stephen A, Tactical Tokens, Talking Napkin, The 3/4 Hospital, The Old DM, The Pickle, The Casual Nerd, The New Bad Hombre, Thomas T, Tiger 500, Tim Black, Tom C, Traveling Catch, Tristan W, Tyler R, Vincent G, Vladimir S, Will M, XX Red Drum. Thank you. Woo! Like, you guys want to know a secret? The most challenging part of every live stream I do, I crap you not, is reading that list. Once I get through that list, I feel so much better. Because I don't know, I have a hard time reading names, I guess. It's like the biggest, yeah. All right, so let's 1 minute, 41 seconds. Yeah, it's gonna take some time. Wookie Pirate, thank you for the $10 tip. That's going to Bikers Against Child Abuse. I really appreciate that, dude. You see, this is proof. Wookie, you're a good dude, because even though I said some things that kind of implied that I was trying to steal your wife or something, which is not true, and I still deny it. I deny it. You still tipped for Bikers Against Child Abuse, and I appreciate that. You see, you're a good dude. You know, you're very forgiving of others' faults. That's a good personality trait. Yeah. Oh, Caleb Sweet, thank you for the $5 super chat, dude. I appreciate that. I gotta go on my sheet over here. There we go. Hey Luke, thank you for all the content you create and everything you do for your community. You are very welcome, dude. All I ask is that you pet each of your cats for me. Well, you got it. I will pet each of my cats eventually. Let's see. So far today, I've pet Mommy, I've pet Orange, I've pet Squeaky, I've pet Little Guy, I've pet Little Girl. Who am I missing? Squirty Pie. I've pet Squirty Pie. Wait, I think that's everybody. I got everybody. I got all my cats already. I've already pet them all today. I will pet them all tomorrow too. Thank you. Look at that. I'm pretty good at this. I got this thing down. Is somebody fighting the bot? Gamer Bros, what did you come in on? You came on chaos, dude. It's absolute chaos. Welcome to the chaos, man. Where do we tip, and how does it differ from YouTube super chats and stickers? So the tipping thing is that there'll be a link in the chat. One of my moderators will drop it where you can tip. The tipping goes toward Bikers Against Child Abuse, the charity that we're trying to raise money for right now. Super chats, the way super chats work is if you super chat, your question will percolate to the top and I answer your questions. So if you have a burning question, you can throw money at me and I will honor your investment by answering your question. Can't guarantee the quality of answer I'll give you, but I'll answer your question. 40% of your super chat goes to YouTube because they are poor, and the other 60% goes to my coffers. That's the way super chats work. Stickers, I think, work the exact same way. There's no difference between a sticker and a super chat. If you just want to support the content that I create, then Patreon is the best way for you to do that, because over 90% of what you give me on Patreon goes to help support the content I create. It doesn't go to YouTube. It doesn't go to anybody else. It's just like, woo, and then I can create content and stuff, which is spectacular. And we go on lavish vacations too. I know there's somebody who's like, yeah, Luke, you just take our money. Yeah. Thale Delilwin, sorry, says, is it really a cat box when the cats are not in the box? Scrudinger would question the logic. Thale, I just want you to know, just wait until the 1 hour mark, because we're going to do a cat trip. No, we're going to do a cat. Not a cat trip. It's a cat. What do we call it, you guys? I forgot the name of it. It's not a cat trip. What's the one we do where I give them snacks, where I give them kitty snacks? Tim Brigley says, content creators need vacations too. Yes, they do. Oh my gosh. Dude, I get up at 4. Cat strike. Yes, cat strike. So at the 1 hour mark, we'll do a cat strike where I give them treats, and I'll put some in the box, and you will literally see a couple cats go in that box to get the treats. So you just wait for it. As regarding vacations, I get up every morning at 4 a.m. I work for 4 to 5 hours before I go to work. I go to my day job. I get out of my day job, and then I come back here, and I have a couple hours that I usually spend with my wife, or I might watch TV, usually with my wife, or I'll paint minis, or we'll go out to eat, or I'll go shoot at the range or something. So yeah, talk about vacations. Vacations need vacations. The irony of the vacation is that if I have an upcoming vacation, I have to spend even more time working before the vacation to be able to take the vacation. And then when I get back from the vacation, I have a whole pile of work to do. Not for my day job, right? For my YouTube stuff that I do. And so like even when you have a vacation, you know that before and after the vacation, you still have more, you're gonna have more work to do. So when you're on vacation, the trick is try not to think about that. You forget it all. You're just like, goodbye. I'm gonna enjoy the moment because it's not gonna be fun when I get back home. Yes, the Colonel says he has to prepare for the vacation. Yes, I do. It's the irony of the vacation. All right, let's do some questions here. We're going to talk about, they released a new Unearthed Arcana too, and we're going to talk about that. Apparently there's a Kender in the Unearthed Arcana as a playable race, and we're going to talk about Kender. So don't you worry. What's your opinion on traps and monsters at the same time? I've literally done that before. Gaming Booger. I keep always saying your name wrong. I've literally done that before many times, and I've made a video. I have like a trap making series on my YouTube channel, and one of the videos specifically talks about doing both at the same time, having monsters and traps at the same time, because it's the holy crap moment where you have traps going off, you can't step in certain squares, and at the same time you have monsters attacking you. It's a holy crap moment, and it makes for an amazing, amazing encounter. You can't do it all the time because then it loses its splendor, right? It's like you've done it. If you do it too much, it just becomes boring. But every so often, if you do that, woo, it's some amazing stuff. How was your day today? I'm doing very well. Today was a good day. I got up, I got a bunch of work done. I went to work. I worked really hard at my day job, and then now I'm live streaming, and I enjoy live streaming. This coffee is horrible. I have a player in my game that is going on vacation for 3 weeks. What should I do with their character in the meantime? Whatever your player wants you to do. If they want their character to stay in the game and somebody else runs them, that's fine. If they don't want somebody else to run their character, then just think of a reason for the character not to be in the game. I would definitely talk to your player and then kind of come to an agreement with them and then do that based upon what they feel is right. And then as far as like the rest of your game, you're going to be down a player. Tell your other players, hey guys, you're short a man. Deal with it. Use your brains. Be more cautious. Etc., etc., etc. You could adjust things if you wanted to. I usually don't, because 5th edition is like easy mode, and you really don't need to adjust things. Death never happens. Dropping to 0 hit points is the joke. Like it's easy mode. You just don't need to worry about adjusting things for the most part. The chances of a TPK happening are so rare. It's just, yeah. So you probably don't got to worry about that too much. I'm also from Michigan. What city are you in? What are you trying to do, Caleb? You're trying to track me down, dude? I wouldn't track me down if I were you. You would not like what you find in my cave. Dogs, cats. How could I seamlessly mix side quests and the main story points together? Well, there's no seamlessly doing it. It's going to be very apparent and obvious to both you and your players that there is a main storyline that has to do with stopping the Fae incursion, and then anything that doesn't have to do with that is a side quest. It will be very clear to everyone at the game table. You're not going to fool them. Like, I gotcha. You didn't know you were in a side quest. It's going to be clear, but who cares? Who cares? You see, the thing is that sometimes the main adventure, the main plot arc, maybe people need a break. Maybe it's getting boring. Maybe they want to go do something else. And that's perfectly fine. I love the idea of having a main adventure arc that could have to do with preventing the Fae from taking over the world, and then having side adventures, character arcs, things that have to do with their backstories, or personal quests or missions that they want to go on as a group, of course, because we run group games. And then those things happen too. And then when one of those adventures wraps up, you come back to the main storyline. And then you do a couple quests there. And then maybe there's another side track they want to go off and do on. I wouldn't worry too much about making it seamlessly go together. Present plot hooks. Give them a handful of plot hooks. You could go do this other thing on the main story arc, or there's this side quest you guys could go on if you wanted to, or there's this other thing you guys go do if you want to, and let the group decide what they want to go do next. And then that's the thing you prepare, and that's the thing you run. But don't worry about it being seamless. We're playing a game. We're playing a game. And most of us are intelligent human beings that will recognize when something is a side quest. So don't worry about it being seamless. We're not writing movies. We're not writing books. We're just trying to have fun. We want to eat Cheetos, eat pizza, drink beverages, and have fun. That's the goal. And so I wouldn't fret too much about making it seamless and making it feel, I don't know. I guess my advice is just to not worry about it and just have fun and play the game. I think we worry about things too much that we shouldn't worry about. What are some rules DMs or players forget in D&D? Simple things you glance over. Everybody forgets how surprise actually works in the game. Everybody forgets how surprise works and nobody cares because the way surprise works is really stupid. They should have had a surprise round. Like I think previous editions had just surprise rounds. And now you just have the surprise condition. And sometimes game designers are sitting around and they make changes for reasons that nobody comprehends, and people just say, well, that's stupid, and they just do it how they've always done it. So most groups do surprise rounds, even though it's supposed to be a surprise condition. And so I think people overlook that, and rightly so, because that was a stupid idea. They should have just had a surprise round. And there's only one class that I'm aware of, two classes. You have the assassin, where the surprise condition actually matters. And then I think you have a barbarian who can ignore being surprised if they rage on the very first round. And so there are edge cases where it actually matters, but usually it doesn't. So yeah, I don't know. It's stupid, but people forget that. I don't care. I don't usually do the surprise condition either. I do a surprise round. What other rules do people forget? I mean, there's probably a YouTube channel out there that literally made a video, most overlooked D&D rules or something like that. I'm sure there's got to be somebody out there who made a video on that, because that's the type of video that would get lots of views and lots of people to click on it, and maybe there's some useful information in said video as well that will actually help you to improve your game or something. But there's probably a video out there. But surprise round is definitely one that I can think of that people overlook. Critical hits. Most people think that if you're doing an athletics check or a stealth check and you roll a 20, they think that's a critical success. No, it's not. It doesn't work that way. It literally says in the book that rolling a natural 20 is a critical hit on attack rolls only. Only attack rolls, but people think that it happens to deal with ability checks as well. Like, you know, if you're trying to persuade the king to, like, you know, step down from the throne and let you run the kingdom and you roll a 20, it's like, oh, that's a critical success. The king must abdicate his throne. No, it doesn't work that way. So that's a rule that people screw up a lot. Oh, inspiration. People screw up the inspiration rule a lot. The way that inspiration is supposed to work is that before you roll, you must declare that you're using inspiration, and then you get to roll 2 dice. The way most groups actually do inspiration is they roll the first die, they see that it's really bad, and then they say, I'd like to use inspiration, and they roll the second die. And if you do it that way, then that inspiration mechanic is way more powerful when you use it that way. So if you do it that way, I'm not like you're welcome to change and do things the way you want to do them. It's your game. But most people do it, I feel, out of ignorance because they don't actually understand how it's supposed to work according to the rules. And they just kind of do it that way, which makes it way more powerful. So those are 3 rules off the top of my head that I have seen people screw up. I've screwed them up before myself. So those are 3 for you. I'm sure there's a video out there that will give you 5 of them or 10 of them. Just look for it on YouTube. Somebody's made that video, I guarantee you. The 10 most overlooked rules or the 5 most overlooked D&D rules. Somebody's made that video. 100% guarantee you. 100%. We should look for, you know what? We're going to look for it right now. I want to see if my theory is correct. Somebody made that video. We're going to see what we can find. Okay, hold on. We're overlooked D&D rules. Okay, here we go. Literally, you see how I'm a genius. We don't need to watch you. The most overlooked rule in D&D. There we go. 5 commonly ignored rules in Dungeons and Dragons 5e. You see, 6 days ago, literally 6 days ago, over 100K views. I told you that's the type of thing that people would like click on and watch. 10 common rule mistakes in D&D 5e. Well, that was from 3 years ago, right? Most important rules. Well, this is me. Look, these are the most important rules. Woo! Yeah, so there you go. You see? Top 10 misunderstood rules. These D&D rules, these D&D 5e rules are, as written, are dumb. Unspoken rules. Okay, you see? There you go. You see lots of people are doing these things. Uh-oh. Campaign breaking magic items. Woo, I think I did a video on that once. Oh, hey, look, we're live. I'm live. All right, we should go back to being live then. And stop looking at the competition. All right. I saw a comment. I literally saw a comment on, I think, my last live stream from Friday. And the person was like, they literally said, the host is very obnoxious or annoying or something like that. And I saw that and I laughed and I was like, man, I would so much rather be obnoxious and maybe entertaining or exciting, or at least have a personality than be dead boring. Like, half of the videos I watch are just so monotonously boring with no emotion, no personality. You know, it's just like, I love those comments. You're obnoxious. Thank you. That means that I actually have a personality. And I'm not just like, well, today we're going to talk about the 5 most overlooked D&D rules. Well, that's right, we are. And the first one is, yeah, I'm not going to do that. All right, keep going here. How would you recommend making encounters for high-level players? Also, blue cheese or no blue cheese? No blue cheese. High-level players? Well, the challenge rating system is mostly worthless at high levels, so you throw that out. And you make some things easier, some things harder, but you can definitely throw some very deadly stuff at them. You also you have to, I cannot speak. You have to account for your group's capabilities. You have to. You have to think through what they're capable of doing, and you have to plan your adventure based upon what your group is capable of. You have to. If you want it to be challenging, if you don't want it to be trivialized, you must think about those things. Do you have a cleric who can use divine intervention? You need to think about what would happen if they used divine intervention to do X, Y, and Z. You need to think that through. Do you have a wizard who can cast wish? You need to think through how will you respond if the wizard wishes for all of the enemies in the dungeon to be dead. You need to think those things through. Do you have players who can polymorph and they're going to upcast it and polymorph everyone into, I don't know, T-Rexes? You need to think those things through. The purpose is not to completely negate the character's abilities, because you don't want to negate what they can do because that ruins their fun. But you need to think those things through and have an adequate response. A high-level adventure usually features villains that are powerful. They didn't get that powerful by like being idiots. They're usually smart. A lot of times these villains at higher levels are immortal beings like devils and demons or celestials. They've been around for a long time. They've seen a lot of things. And so they anticipate a lot of the typical things that adventurers are going to try doing. They've thought about it. They have game plans and stuff like that. They have resistances. I had a group once. They're not even that high level. I think they were level 11, but they were like, I think the spell Forbiddance. They were talking about going into a dungeon and that was full of fiends, and then casting Forbiddance, I believe that's the name of it, on the entire dungeon, which would basically, their theory was it would kill them all because they'd be stuck in there. They couldn't get out fast enough. And they keep taking damage until they died. I think that was the spell. I could be getting it wrong. Or maybe it was something else. It might have been something else, but there's a spell, a cleric spell at a little bit higher level, 5th level, maybe 6th level, that does a big area, and fiends, or it could be celestials too, or undead, that are in the area take tons of damage every single round. It's like tick, 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 tick until you're dead. Hollow. Is that it? Hollow? Okay, cool. I didn't remember the spell name. They were talking about what they would do. They were talking about using that spell and just killing the entire dungeon. And so I was like, how would my monsters respond? And I was like, well, I have lots of monsters that can cast Dispel Magic. They would just start casting Dispel Magic until it were gone. Okay, there you go. There's your solution. So my point is, you just think through some of those things. Think through some of those things. Have a thought exercise so that when your players do those things in your adventures, you're not just like, oh crap, what do I do? You have thought it through and you have a general idea. Now, there's always gonna be something that catches you by surprise and you're not going to anticipate, and you just do the best you can. Not hollow, it's hallow. Well, I'm going to say hollow now. You see, this is what you were here when I talked about doubling down. Lord God, what's up, dude? How you doing? High level D&D is completely different. Animal and low level, you can't treat it the same. That is 100% true. 100% true. And most groups, here's the thing too, most groups never get to high level D&D ever. And the reason they don't is for two reasons. One, the spiral of death, usually because of scheduling, whereby the game just stops and fizzles and breaks apart. Most games, the majority of games that break up, it's because of scheduling. So most games never make it that far, first of all. And I think the other reason is that even games that do make it that far, like high level D&D it's challenging to run as a dungeon master. I don't know what the player's perspective is. Maybe they have fun and they like it. I don't know, but it's really challenging to run. And a lot of times as a dungeon master, like I've been in high levels a couple times. It's interesting. It's fun, but I wouldn't want to stay there forever. Like I want to go back to level 1 and low levels. Like it's some variety is good. Like, you know, so I don't know. Most games never get there. And you'll notice too that almost all of the official modules don't go past level 15. They don't. It's like level 12 or level 15 and they call it a day. Why? Well, there's a couple reasons. first of all, it's almost impossible to write a pre-made module for higher levels because there are so many variables and so many things change, and players can be super, super powerful or maybe not, depending on different variables, that it's really hard to write a module for high levels. And they also know that their challenge rating system is garbage and falls apart after like level 12 or 15 for sure. So they just don't do it. They don't go there because it's super hard. And they also know the other reason you never see official modules for super high levels is they know most groups never get there. And so if they publish a bunch of modules made for higher levels, they're probably not going to get bought as much because most groups never get to higher levels. And so they're smart. They want to make money. They're a company. Can't fault them that. And so they're going to publish products that they know most of their users are going to want to buy. And that's going to trend toward lower levels, maybe mid levels. They know that. They're not stupid. So that's another reason you don't see official modules that go very much past 12 or 15th level. Okay, here we go. I got a super chat. T-Bird, thank you for the $5 super chat, dude. I appreciate that. T-Bird says, this may apply to what you said earlier, but I have a player who will not be able to join the game every third or fourth session. Is this acceptable? It's up to you, dude. It's up to you and your group. In my opinion, if somebody can't be there every third or fourth session, I think that would probably be okay. Once they get to the point where every other game session they're not there, that's probably too frequent. You're not able to play the game enough, you know. So, but every 3 or 4 sessions is probably not that big of a deal. But that's really just up to your discretion. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer there, dude. You know, talk to your players and your other players and you, and you know, it's probably not a big deal. But if you get a player who's like every other game session, they can't make it, that's not going to work, in my opinion. But for some groups, it might be fine. That's like a personal thing, you know? I don't think there's a real answer to that. Like there's this way or that way, or, you know, it's kind of variable depending upon yourself. How do you counter wish? You don't need to counter wish. There's no reason to counter wish. Wish in 5th edition takes care of itself. Wish literally duplicates an 8th level spell or lower without any material components. If you use it for anything except that, there's a 25% chance that the ability to cast Wish is forever burned out of you. Which means that smart players are only going to use it to cast 8th level spells or lower, or maybe, in a very rare extreme circumstance, they're going to use Wish for something else. But no wizard, no sorcerer, no, maybe warlock, do they get Wish? I don't know. None of them want to have the ability to cast Wish burned out of you forever. That is a very bad proposition. So you're only going to roll the dice on that 25% chance every once in a while. Most of the time, you're going to use Wish to cast an 8th level spell or lower. So in my opinion, I don't think there's any reason to counter Wish, to fight Wish. I think that it takes care of itself. Now, if you get my necklace is all crooked. If you get a player who casts Wish to do something different, well, then you adjudicate it in the moment and you see what should be allowed and what shouldn't. And here's the thing. Sometimes players want to cast Wish in such a way that basically results in not playing the game. And I think that that's absolutely horrible. For instance, you might have somebody who's like, you know, I wish there's an adventure, right? That you're all going to go on and play the game. And they're like, I wish that all of the monsters and the big bad were all dead. And we didn't have to fight them. We could just go in and get their loot and accomplish our objective. Which is great. It's all fine and dandy. But it ignores the fact that you literally have people that came to the game session to play the game. Because I want to play the game. I want to fight the monsters. I want tactical combat. I want to do that. I want to talk with them. I want to sneak around. I want to explore. I want to try to bypass the trap or not and get hit by it. I want that experience. I, as a player, do not show up to a D&D game to have somebody wish for the adventure to be completed like that. That would be a miserable game experience for me as a player. I would hate that. Hate that. I would not want to play in a game where that happens on a regular basis. The first time it happens, I'm going to be upset. If it keeps on happening, I'm probably going to go find a different game to play because why? I want to play the game. I want to play the game. Now, from a dungeon master's standpoint, it's probably even more miserable because the dungeon master puts a lot of effort into planning that adventure and planning all of those things. To have a player show up and be like, I cast wish and everything is gone and resolved, the dungeon master's like, why am I here? Why did I spend all of my time and effort preparing this adventure for you if you're going to show up and just be done with it? Like, we could just spend 5 minutes playing D&D every time we get together where you cast wish and the adventure's over. And then we can go on and we could play Gloomhaven or something else. You know, if you don't want to play D&D, we don't have to. We can play something else. So from a game master standpoint, it's even worse. But from a player standpoint, it's miserable as well. There's only one person that thinks that's cool and enjoys that moment. And that's the person casting wish and thinking that they're clever. You're not clever. You're effectively ruining everybody else's game experience in that moment. And so for situations like that, I think that my recommendation, I've never had a player do that, by the way. I've almost always had very good players who recognize the fact that doing that would basically be ruining the game for other people, so they don't do that. I have very good players, and the bad players get asked to leave, by the way. But if I had a player that wanted to do that, I would probably have that exact same conversation with them that I just had to you, where I explained that, hey, basically by doing that, you're not letting other people play the game. And they probably want to play the game. And so my ruling is going to be that that's not going to work or something or blah, 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 blah. Or you personally are going to be forwarded 100 years into the future, just you personally, where all of the enemies are dead. But everybody else stays behind and they get to play the game. And if you want to, you can roll up a new character. I don't know. I'm just ad-libbing. I might not do that. I might. Who knows? But I would definitely have a conversation and explain what that is unsatisfying for most people at the game table for an adventure to be resolved by casting wish that just wipes it clean. And now there are going to be some people, especially over on Reddit, who are going to be like, nah, that's horrible. You're a horrible person. That's fine. I want to play the game. You might not want to play the game. You might want to just make a Reddit post where you're talking about how this amazing story and there was this horrible villain, you know, and you were all over it. It was you were all gonna die and all this stuff, and the wizard came in and cast wish and it resolved it, and you all cheered and it was amazing. It makes for maybe a good story. It doesn't make for good gameplay. And I play D&D to play D&D. Where's this stuff? Yeah, and Wish specifically says that if the effect is too much, it might not work fully. Exactly. So it's always up to the game master's discretion to not have it work and stuff. Yes. Why would you wish for anything else than casting some simulacrum? Oh, yes, Claude, you're totally on point. Simulacrum is amazing, and you don't have to spend the incredible gold. How much gold pieces is it? It's either 1,000 or 10,000 gold pieces, and it has to be a statue or a figurine that you have crafted that looks just like you. Like, there's a very high cost to casting simulacrum, and Wish gets you around that. So 100%, that's like one of the, is it 1,000 gold pieces? Yeah. But it's like 100% the way to use Wish is to cast simulacrum, because then especially if you're a spellcaster, you get your spells. Now your simulacrum it's very squishy and can die very easily, but they get to cast all of your spells, which makes you super powerful. So yeah, that is absolutely one of the best ways to use Wish, 100%. And then as a dungeon master, I just make sure that your simulacrum gets targeted, because why wouldn't I? All spellcasters get, as soon as my enemies that I'm role-playing see spellcasters doing crazy powerful things, they get an overwhelming bias against them, and they get targeted hard. Why wouldn't you? You do this in war, don't you? Like, if there are like soldiers advancing, but the artillery in the back is bombarding you and messing you up, guess what? You try to get rid of that artillery. You don't just be like, we're gonna ignore the artillery, it's okay. No, you go after the artillery, dude. You kidding me? So anyway, you hold the fighters at bay up front, but you get rid of that artillery. So as soon as spellcasters start laying down bombs in my games, the bad guys try to take out the spellcasters with extreme prejudice. Absolutely. They're not dumb. My players aren't dumb. As soon as I, as a dungeon master, reveal a spellcaster, do you know what my players immediately try doing? They try to take out my spellcaster with extreme prejudice. And why wouldn't they? So it goes both ways, ladies and gentlemen. This artillery is very squishy. Yeah, in the case of spellcasters, yeah, usually, yeah. All right, let's see. Lord God, thank you for the 551 super chat, dude. I appreciate that. Orc Claw of Luthic can cast Augury. How should this work? I'm not sure how to use spells like this in combat encounters. Yeah, here's the thing. There are certain publishing companies that enjoy making monsters that have spells and abilities that are pretty much worthless in combat. And I kind of can understand why they do that, because monsters are really just NPCs, and they don't have to be used only in combat. There are different ways to use them than just combat. And so they will give them different abilities and things like scrying and things like that, pass without trace maybe, to make them useful in situations that aren't just combat. And I totally get that and understand that. So there's a reason they give them spells that are not just combat spells, which is logical and makes total sense. They're not always going to get used in your games. A lot of times I replace those spells with spells that I think they're actually going to use, or actually what I usually do is I really just pick 3 or 4 spells off their list that are actually useful, and then I just focus on those spells. I reduce my options because most spellcasters are too complicated for me to run in a game, and I really just need to know the 3 spells or 4 spells that they're most likely to cast, because they're going to be dead after 3 rounds anyway, and then I use those spells. But Augury, I feel, is a really good example of a stupid spell to give a monster. Like, I have no idea how an orc is going to use Augury usefully. You know, like there are other non-combat spells which make sense and they could make use of. Augury is probably not one of them. I'm pretty sure that when they were designing that monster, somebody was just like, well, you know, I don't know what to give them. Hey, you know, Augury. There are no other monsters that have Augury. We should give Augury some love. Let's have them cast Augury. So yeah, you're going to find that that's the way. There are lots of spells that monsters have that have little rationale that might not get much use, but that's kind of the way it works. And if you don't like it, you can just replace it with something else. It's not a big deal. I know that you're technically the spells that a monster is able to cast affects the challenge rating. It does. So, but I usually don't worry about it. I'm just like, you know, if it's a 3rd level spell, I'm just going to replace with a different 3rd level spell. We're going to call it a day. And that's just even whatever. So yeah, thank you. All right. Michelle, hello. Thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate that. Question is, do you roleplay the enemies as knowing the initiative order if the players do? Yes and no. When I play, my players don't know the initiative order of the enemies. They don't know when the enemies take their turns. I hide that from my players. It's not visible to them. Especially on when I play Roll20. And when I play in person, I write the initiative down and most people can't see it unless they have really good vision. And so nobody really knows when the monsters get to go. The players know when they get to go, but they don't know when the monsters go. And so I mostly hide it from my players. Now, in the case where the players can see the monsters initiative, if you run your games that way, that's fine. If they can see it, and if you notice them metagaming, and they're literally planning their attacks and their strategies based upon the monster's initiative, then in that case, I would absolutely play the monsters like they know the character's initiative. Like, if you guys want to metagame and do that, I can do it too. The other option, of course, is to ask them to stop metagaming and stop doing that. You could do that, but I don't know. There's this little evil part of me that's just like, okay, you want to play that way? I can play that way too. So I don't know. It's like even Steven at that point. So there's probably a couple ways I could go with that. Mr. Brewster, thank you for becoming a member, dude. I appreciate that. John Alexopoulos, thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate that. As a reminder, all member questions do get priority, along with super chats, of course. So if you want to become a member, I appreciate that, and we'll try to get your questions answered. We are going to take a little bit of a break here. We're going to give my cats a cat strike, where I give them cat food and they get all excited and stuff and do crazy stuff. But before we get into that, I want to let you guys know that my next Kickstarter, Layers and Legends, is going to be launching April 5th. There's a link down in the chat and down in the description where you can get more information, and you can follow the project as well to get notified when it goes live. We're basically going to be publishing 2 hardcover books, Layers and Legends and Loot and Lore. That's going to have a bunch of Dungeon Master resources, 5th edition adventures, monsters, traps, puzzles, NPCs, villains, standalone encounters, maps as well. They're digital maps for use on virtual tabletops and stuff like that. So really cool content is going to be coming out. So you can follow the project at the link down below when it launches, and it's going to be awesome. We have early bird specials where you can save some money and things like that. If you pledge early, you get money off. It's going to be beautiful. So, and now we're going to do a cat strike. But I'm going to show you a little teaser video here that's going to show you some more information about Layers and Legends, and then we're doing a cat strike. It's going to be beautiful. This content is brought to you by the Layers and Legends Kickstarter, coming in early 2022. Are you a dungeon master looking to reduce your prep time but still run awesome games for your players? Would you like professional pre-made 5th edition adventures, maps, traps, puzzles, magic items, and other resources you can drag and drop into your existing campaign? The Layers and Legends Kickstarter will create 2 gorgeous hardcover books for dungeon masters containing all of this and more. The first book, Layers and Legends, will deliver 25 5th edition compatible adventures spanning levels 1 to 15 and over 100 new terrifying monsters to pit against your players. The second book, Loot and Lore, will deliver 50 magic items, 25 puzzles, 40 traps, 10 factions, 30 standalone encounters with maps, 30 villains, 30 NPCs, 70 random tables, 30 adventure ideas, 20 spells, and 4 subclasses. And through the beauty of Kickstarter and stretch goals, we'll be able to commission beautiful artwork for both books and add even more content. Furthermore, in addition to the hardcovers, you can also get both books in PDF format and a digital map pack containing all the maps from both books. And if you'd like to pick up a hardcover copy of our last Kickstarter, Into the Fae, it will be available as an add-on to Layers and Legends. Click the link below to join the Layers and Legends email list and get notified when it goes live in early 2022. Oops, that's the wrong button. All right, here we go. Cat strike time. I don't have very many cats right now. I don't know what they're doing. I only have 2. We are very low on cats. They're just gonna get pretty much everything that's left in the bucket. All right, I'll be right back. Red Tyrant, you have chocolate milk? Dude, I haven't had chocolate milk in a long time. Oh, this is an easy question. What is your opinion on Wild Beyond the Witchlight? I like playing D&D adventures that involve fighting and stuff, and that doesn't seem to be my cup of tea. So I'll take a pass on that. How do you deal with a character that is less powerful than the other ones because of starting rolls? Doesn't matter. There's always going to be a change in power between different characters at different levels, or even at the same level, so it doesn't really matter. It's immaterial. The game isn't balanced. The characters, the classes are not balanced. They aren't balanced at all. So it doesn't really matter a whole lot in the game, in the whole spectrum of things. You see, I told you we'd get cats in the box. Yeah, sometimes people will ask, you know, I have some characters that are lower level than other ones that are higher level, and I don't know how to balance the game for them and stuff. And it's like, nah, don't worry about it. Just take into account, I mean, there's literally calculators online where you can enter the number of characters at X level and the ones at the other level, and then you can see what the challenge rating should be, and you can build encounters around it. You just use the online calculators for it and get as close as you can. And beyond that, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. Things will be just okay. And if you have characters that are weaker, that are squishier, that have fewer hit points or something, well, then you know what? They need to role play their characters accordingly. That's just the way you do it. If you have a wizard with not a whole lot of hit points, what do? You're careful. So if you're a low-level character with a high-level adventuring group, guess what? You're careful. This isn't a problem for the dungeon master to solve. My opinion. This is something that players can deal with and figure out. And they should. All right, we have some member questions here. The chat can't hear your music. Oh, I think I forgot to start my music. Oh my gosh, I forgot to start my music. I'm sorry. Let's get some music going. There we go. How's that? Is that better? I forgot to start my music for the live stream. Dang. Thank you, moderators. I'll fix that for you. An escort mission. Oh, those are miserable. We all hate escort missions. All right, we got member questions. Let's see. Anna Balefire. Hello, Anna. Good to see you again. You were here last stream. How do you get your players to not take long or short rests after every combat? Consequences. That's it. Consequences. So you have a warlock, don't you? You have a fighter, don't you? You have monks that love to spend key points and stunning strike, don't you? Yeah, you do. I'm sure you do. And that's why they take short rests all the time, or even long rests, because they're just like gaming the system, getting all of their abilities back. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do unless you have there be consequences. So, in all of the adventures that we publish at the DM Lair, we have random encounters at the very beginning of the adventure. And the reason that we always publish 3 to 4 random encounters at the beginning of every single adventure that we publish is so that if the characters are taking too many long rests, you can have random encounters attack them. If the characters take a long rest when they shouldn't, you can take some of those monsters from the random encounters and repopulate the dungeon. This is the solution. If they take a short rest and they really shouldn't have needed to, then they can have a random encounter attack them, deplete some of their resources. If they take a long rest when they really shouldn't have needed to, then the dungeon can repopulate. The bad guys in the dungeon can realize, wow, half of us are dead. We should either 1, leave and run away, 2, hunt down the people that are attacking us, all of us together, and attack them at once, or 3, go to our allies the next dungeon over and get some reinforcements. There's a wide variety of things that you can do. Is it more effort for you, the dungeon master? Yes, it is. Is it going to take a little bit more work? Yep. Are you perhaps going to have to take a 5 to 15 minute break to figure out what happens and restock your dungeon and stuff because your players took a long rest? Maybe you do. But here's the end result. Your players right now are taking too many short rests or maybe long rests. And they're doing that because they can. They're doing that because there are no in-game consequences for their doing so. Once you demonstrate to them that there are going to be consequences, that they're going to get attacked during their short rests or during their long rests, once you demonstrate that your dungeon gets restocked, that bad guys get reinforcements, and then they got to do it almost all over again, once you show them the first time, for sure the second time, they see a dungeon get restocked because they took a long rest, they're going to think really hard about doing that again. Really hard. Really hard. Now, all of that said, and you might only have to do it once. Only once might be all you need. And then your players are going to be like, no, 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 no. Let's only rest when we must, because our dungeon master is not going to let us get away with it. And then you've solved your problem. They're going to be wise about when they short rest and when they long rest. Now, all of that said, be aware too that most adventures are designed so that the party will take 1 or 2 short rests. That is a thing that especially published modules are designed that way. What we published at the Lair magazine or the DM Lair for Lair magazine and all of our other publications are designed that way as well. You're usually going to have 1 to 2 short rests. That is normal. So you don't really need consequences for that sort of thing. Now, once you start to get into long resting in the middle of a dungeon, in the middle of an adventure, maybe it wasn't designed that way. Maybe there should be consequences. Now, this is kind of a failing, in my opinion, of the official modules and the adventures that we get, is that they don't tell you how many long rests are expected. And so you don't know if there should be consequences or not, or if the adventure was designed for them to take a long rest. You just don't know because the modules don't tell you. The things that we publish at Lair magazine or the DM Lair for Lair magazine and other things like that, we explicitly say at the very beginning of our adventures how many long rests are expected, so that you as the dungeon master know when you're running that adventure, if it says that it's expected they'll take a long rest, you know, oh, it's by design. They're going to run out of resources. They're going to need to take a long rest, and it's okay. And then you know, well, then we're not going to throw a book at them. We're not going to repopulate the entire dungeon because they're going to need the long rest. And so this is an example, I feel, of how we try to make the products that we publish, the adventures that we publish, easier for dungeon masters to use, giving you more information, helping you prepare for your games, helping you to anticipate these things and react, and knowing how things were designed behind the scenes a little bit more to make your life easier. So there's my shameless plug for our publications, which you can get by becoming a DM Lair patron at the link below. How do I start an adventure? Is it okay to start in a tavern? Yes, it is. I have an entire video about starting in taverns. You should go take a watch. The long and short of it is that there's nothing wrong with starting in a tavern. There's lots of good reasons to do that. If you can think of a better way to do it, more interesting way, you're welcome to do it too, but there's nothing wrong with it. John A, thank you for becoming a member. Question. I have a player that loves creating background lore, and I have figured out a lot of ways to use the information in my game. How often should I introduce side arcs? How do I know when I overdo it? Well, I don't think that there's like a right and wrong answer for that. I think that introducing side arcs, so like you have the main plot line, like stop the Fae from taking over the world. And then you have side adventures or side arcs. There's no right or wrong answer for how many of those you should introduce. Players usually want to resolve the main plot line. They usually have this sense in them that they need to get that done. They want to get that done. They want to make forward progress on that because that main plot line from their point of view is probably what you're supposed to do in the game. You're supposed to stop the bad guys. And so if you have too many side arcs and there's not enough forward progress on that main story arc, then your players are probably going to start to feel dissatisfied. Maybe they love the side arcs, maybe they don't care. I don't know. But they might start to feel like, hey, we should go make some progress on this because these bad guys are not just going to stop because we're off doing X, Y, and Z. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to how many side arcs are too many, but I would definitely make sure that there's some forward progress being made on the main campaign arc. In my groups, usually what I've done, there are exceptions, but usually what I've done is I'll have 2 or maybe 3 adventures of the main plot line, and then there's one adventure that happens to deal with a backstory or a player side quest. And then after that player side quest, which the whole group goes on because we run group games, then we come back to the main storyline and we'll do 1 or 2 quests. And then maybe there's another side quest. So that type of cadence right there gives you a sense of making progress on the main story arc, but also some variety to do something else because you might get bored with that. And then the players can pursue their own interests that have to do with their backstories or maybe just side goals that they have, but that we do as a group because we run group games. I have to emphasize that all the time. There was somebody once who was telling a story. I love this story. It is an example of like just being absolutely ridiculous. Somebody once was telling a story about how when they were playing back when they would play D&D back in the day, it would take our dungeon master 3 to 4 months to get the next adventure ready. That's what this person was saying. 3 to 4 months to get the next adventure ready. But while they were getting the next adventure ready, they were running side adventures with all the players. Each of the players they'd be meeting with them individually after work or something, or on the weekends. They'd be getting with the individual players, and each of the players was doing their own special thing, their own little side quests or stuff, things that they were interested in doing. And so the fact that it took 3 or 4 months to get the next adventure ready wasn't that big of a deal because all of the players were doing things that they thought were really cool and interesting to them. And then I was listening to this dude tell this story and I was like, are you a moron? Like, seriously, the reason it took the dungeon master 4 months to get an adventure ready is that they were busy running little tiny side quest adventures with all of the other players. Holy crap, dude. It doesn't take 4 months to get an adventure ready. It takes 2 to 4 hours. I do it all the time. It's not hard. Okay, I'm done now. Thank you. I'm hungry too, Melicor. Could you get me something? A TV dinner? Don't do a TV dinner, please. Why a TV dinner? Those are horrible, dude. They're so bad for you. They smell horrible too. There are people at my work that make TV dinners and they smell so horrible. Like, they're heating them up and I'm just like, it's called Healthy Choice. Literally, there's this guy that eats Healthy Choice TV dinners all the time at work, my day job. And I'm like, first, they smell horrible. 2, that is not a healthy choice. Like, if there's ever an oxymoron, putting Healthy Choice on a TV dinner is it. Like, wow. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry, Melicor. I didn't mean to pick on you. You just triggered some thought process in my brain. I don't know. 3 to 4 months is a bit month. Yes, cell phone. It's a long time. They smell like chemicals. Yeah, because they are chemicals. They're yeah. Penguin Butt says, Luke, don't knock TV dinners. I'm eating microwaved breakfast corn dogs for dinner. I'm sorry, Penguin Butt. The Spike roleplay says, what is a TV dinner? If you go through your entire life without ever learning what a TV dinner is, you will be just fine. You'll be just fine, dude. Don't worry about it, man. Heather, welcome back, yo. Michael says, I saw a TV dinner with wine recommendations lately. Oh my gosh. Wow. I grew up poor, and we didn't have money for TV dinners. We made everything from scratch. Literally, you buy the raw food and you cook it. We didn't have the money for TV dinners. They're too expensive. Like, if you buy the noodles and the meat and the tomatoes in cans even, you can make your own goulash. You can make your own macaroni and cheese and put hot dogs in it. Like, I grew up dirt poor. We did not have money for TV dinners. We had to make everything from scratch, and it was absolutely delicious. So I've always made everything from scratch, and my wife has too. My wife was from Central America, where they actually cook food, delicious food. So yeah, I didn't do the TV dinner stuff. I've had them before. They're horrible, and they're expensive. They're expensive for the quantity of food you get, and oh my gosh, I couldn't do it. Okay, anyway, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm like making people feel bad. I should be quiet. All right. Goliath Cleric has a question. Thank you. What is one thing that a player can do that irks you more than anything else, other than the common electronics or not paying attention? What are things that players do that really upset me, that really irk me? Side conversations. I can't stand them. Cannot stand side conversations. Can't do it. Can't do it. Stop talking! If somebody else is talking, you two over there, stop talking. Stop. If I'm trying to talk, stop talking. Can't do side conversations. They annoy. It's not just that they annoy me, it's they distract me. They distract me from running the game. They distract me from listening to the other player. They're distracted. I hate them. I hate side conversations. I had to call out a couple of my players in my I think it was the very last Curse of Strahd game I was running. There were two of the players. What happened? I think they were I think they have an intern kind of that they were leveling up using the sidekick rules in Tasha's, which are actually pretty good, I think. And they were leveling their intern up to like level 4 or something, and they were having a conversation trying to discuss it and stuff. And I had to call them out and just be like, hey guys, I know you guys are trying to do that thing right now, but it's kind of distracting. If you could not. And then they stopped, and it was great, you know. And I'm always gentle when I call people out on behaviors like that. I'm not like here when I'm doing my YouTube thing and live streaming, I'm all like brash and like, but I'm not like that in person. You know, I'm pretty chill and just relaxed usually, unless you get me angry. So I was very gentle, and I called them out and asked them to stop and stuff, and it was cool. You know what I mean? But I had to call somebody out on that very recently because I can't stand it. It's yeah. I have this like stare of death. If you've ever been a teacher, you know the stare of death. Like if you are a teacher, you've probably given the stare of death before. It is when that person is talking or doing something that they shouldn't be doing, and you just look at them. You just give them the stare of death, and then they stop, and then you can continue teaching your class. And so I was very good at the stare of death when I was a teacher, and I got a lot of teaching done, and kids learned a whole lot, theoretically. So I use the stare of death when I'm a dungeon master sometimes too. It usually works. In person, Luke is like the rogue, stabby. Yeah, I don't stab people. All right. Which is the hungriest cat? Squeaky. Oh my word. Squeaky always wants to eat food. He's right here right now. He is the biggest cat. He is like really fat, and he eats the food, and he eats it so fast that he then throws up. It's like he doesn't chew it. He's just like, and then I'm like, dude, calm down already. You're not starving. None of my cats are starving. Little guy is slim, but he gets food. When I'm giving my cats food, there's this tinking sound that sounds throughout the entire house. And little guy, as skinny as he is, he's always like the first or second cat that's there. And he's eating. every time. But Squeaky is just a big roly-poly. Absolutely. What made you decide to name your channel the DM Lair? I named it like 5 or 6 years ago, and I have no idea why I named it that way. I think what I was thinking was I want it to be about dungeon masters, and a lair is a place that something lives, right? And so it's like the DM Lair. This is like the lair of dungeon masters. This is where dungeon masters can come and hang out. And lairs usually have, if you're a dragon lair, you have all of your gold and valuables there and stuff. All of your loot is in the lair. And so the DM Lair has dungeon masters that lair there, that hang out there, and there's valuable stuff there that you can get. So that I think that was probably my thought processes behind naming it the DM Lair. And for the record too, before I started the YouTube channel, I was running my website, thedmlair.com, posting blogs and stuff about my games. I would type up blog posts telling the stories about what happened in my D&D games, and nobody read them. But I did that for a long time, and nobody read them. Of course, they don't. But anyway, I named my website the DM Lair, and then I started up a YouTube channel, and I called it the DM Lair as well. But the website and the blog came first. Oh my gosh, there are super chats from half hour ago. I am so sorry. I am a bad person. I am a bad person. Thank you, moderators. Okay, let's do the super chats from a half hour ago. This is why nobody likes me. I'm irresponsible. Okay, let's go. My moderation team is amazing. They make sure that I do my job. Jeez. Red Tyrant, thank you for the $2 super chat, dude. I appreciate that. This was literally from 28 minutes ago. Wow. Red Tyrant, I hope you're still here. I'm running Curse of Strahd soon. Any tips for a new dungeon master? So Curse of Strahd, couple tips. One, it's touted as a sandbox, and it certainly could be, except that the adventures are all still designed for certain levels, which means it's not really a sandbox. It's like, if you don't have adventures that are variable levels that can be run for different levels of a group and can change their difficulties based upon the level of a group, it's not actually a sandbox. I don't know why they keep making these adventures and they call them sandboxes. They're not sandboxes. If you don't run the things roughly in the order they were designed to be run in, you could easily get in over your head and have severe problems. So I don't know why they call it a sandbox. It's not designed, in my opinion, the way a sandbox should be, which is each adventure is literally designed so that it's variable in challenge rating and it can be run for different levels. That's the way you'd want to do it. And I've created adventures like that before. It's challenging to make those adventures. It's more work, but that's the way to actually do it. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm ranting and you just had a simple question. You're like, Luke, that's not what I'm asking, buddy. Give me just, all right. So control your plot hooks. Because there's so much stuff, you could just give them all 10 plot hooks and then be overwhelmed. Control the information you give them. Just tell them about a couple things that are going on so that you can prepare those things and they can go off and do them. Ask your players ahead of time, hey guys, when you finish up doing this adventure, you have 3 plot hooks. Which of those do you want to do next? And they're going to be like, that one. Okay, thank you. I will prepare that one for you so that when you finish this one, get my fingers right and be careful, that adventure will be ready for you. So those are some tips for you. Curse of Strahd is a module that I feel you don't need to read through the entire module before you start running it for your group, but it would behoove you to keep reading it, you know, all the way through while you're running the game. Because that information will be useful to you just kind of because of the nature of that adventure and the fact that it's kind of a sandbox. So reading it through, and it doesn't take that long, you know, if literally you go sit down for some quality thinking time 2 to 3 times a day. Most people do. It's not a problem. Take Curse of Strahd with you every time you have your thinking time and you read. And from experience, I can tell you, you will get through Curse of Strahd in about 2 months. And then you've read the entire thing through. So that's the trick. There are my pro tips for you, buddy. Okay. Next, I gotta get the rest of the super chats. So I got that super chat. Where's the other ones that I missed? Oh my gosh, I missed more. Jaspers, thank you for the $5 super chat, dude. I appreciate that. Luke, would you ever consider buying a purebred? I know a lady who can hook you up with a beautiful chocolate point Tonkinese. I have no idea what the heck that is. What is a beautiful chocolate point Tonkinese? I'm not really interested in purebreds. I don't care. I take rescue animals. That's what I usually do. Animals that are hungry, that need a home, that are cold, that are outside, that you can tell are desperate, or that have owners who can no longer take care of them. Those are the animals that I take in. Why? Well, one, because like my bleeding heart, I suppose, I want to help them. 2, they're free, because in the like a purebred or something at a pet shop, somebody's gonna buy that animal. Like, if it's not me, it's somebody else. And so I'm gonna get the animals that nobody wants, the animals that are hurt, the animals that are in pain, the animals that are outside and need a home. Those are the animals that we're gonna take in. Every single animal that we have or have had has been a rescue of one type or another. Whether they were outside, whether we found them dying, like our George, our squirrel, was literally outside, abandoned, furless, and freezing to death when we rescued him. Our dog, our Chihuahua, was the woman whom he belonged to was getting very elderly, and she had to go to a hospice, I believe, and she could no longer take the dog or have the dog or take care of the dog. And her son was abusive to the dog, and so we were like, thank you, we'll take the dog, and now we're taking care of the dog, and the dog is very happy. So we just do rescues around here, really. Okay, we got that one. John Alexopoulos, sorry. Thank you for the 571 super chat. I love listening to your feedback and really appreciate everything you do for the community. You are the best. By the way, go BACA. Also, how are you doing? Well, thank you very much, dude. I appreciate that. I am doing very well today. Thank you. I'm a little hungry right now, and this coffee tastes like absolute sludge. But those are very minor complaints. Most people in the world would be very happy to just be hungry, a little hungry, and have crappy coffee. So overall, I'm doing great. Take another drink of that horrible Starbucks coffee. I hate that crap. That is the worst coffee I've probably had in a long time. Like the cheap stuff from like Meyer tastes better than that Starbucks. All right, I think I had another. Oh, by the way, we are raising money for BACA, Bikers Against Child Abuse. There is a link down in the chat. One of my lovely moderators is going to put a link in the chat for you, and you can donate to Bikers Against Child Abuse. It's a tip. All tips, 100% of all tips go toward Bikers Against Child Abuse. They're a bunch of bikers, basically. I think they're definitely across the US. I think they're international as well. But basically they just help, prevent child abuse and do stuff for that cause. And I just love the idea of bikers doing that. And there's part of me that really wants bikers to like beat the crap out of child abusers, but I know they don't do that. Well, theoretically they don't do that. But if they did, I'd be okay with that, because child abusers need to have the crap kicked out of them, regardless of what our stupid justice system believes. So anyway, yes, if you want to tip toward Bikers Against Child Abuse, you may do so, and thank you. Ed Robinson, thank you for the $35 tip. Appreciate that, dude. That was like 20 minutes ago. What are we up to? We're not doing too bad. I think we're almost at $50 toward BACA. That's cool. That's awesome. Sean says my dad and stepmom used to be in BACA. Oh, that's so cool. That's awesome. The Spike Roleplay says, where I come from, rescue animals are just as expensive as getting a pup or kitten. They're not for me. Like a rescue animal literally is outside my door and I take it and I start giving it food. If I go to a pet shop to get a cat, it's like $50 to $100. A dog is even more. So it's definitely way cheaper to get a rescue than to go to a pet shop or something and adopt them. And if you go to like the Humane Society and you get an animal from the Humane Society, you are going to pay a little bit of money, but that money you pay them is going to help them continue rescuing other animals and stuff. And so you're helping animals by paying that fee to the Humane Society. Whereas if you go to a pet shop and you buy a cat at a pet shop, that pet shop's just making money, dude. They're not like rescuing animals and doing stuff for animal welfare, more than likely. I could be wrong, but they're just making money. But the Humane Society, they're actually taking your money and that's continuing their cause of helping animals. So that's a good thing, I guess. Oh, geez, that's not good. Okay, let's see. Brandon, thank you for the $2 super chat. Do you have any material for legacy type weapons? I don't even know what that is. So my answer is going to be no, I'm sorry. I always feel bad giving a crappy answer to a super chat, but I literally have nothing for you. I answered that one. Genghis Aries says, my players tend to play their PCs like they know they are the main characters. Is this something I should try to curtail, or is that just the nature of D&D? Well, everybody's their main character. Everybody's the main character. There's this whole idea of main characters going around right now. I feel like this is something new. I've started seeing videos and TikToks or something, or maybe there's shorts or something about main character syndrome. Is this a new thing? Because I've been hearing about it a lot recently, and I feel like it's a new thing that people are talking about. Could somebody define what that means exactly in the chat? I think I know what it means, but I'm probably not 100% sure. Any tips for first-time D&D module creators? Create it, publish it, get it out in the wild. Don't worry about it being perfect. It won't be. It will suck. Nobody will buy it. Don't worry about it. Keep on putting more and more stuff out there. That's the first thing. And you'll get better as you go. Iterate, continuous improvement, get better as you go. But don't worry about it a whole lot because nobody will see it. There's way too much competition. It's way too easy to publish on DriveThruRPG and the DM's Guild. Everybody's publishing. Everybody thinks they can write. And there's so much stuff out there that yours will get lost in the noise. But that's okay because it's going to suck at first, almost assuredly. So let it get lost in the noise. That'll help you to get better and better at it so that when people maybe start noticing it, you don't suck as much. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The second thing I will tell you is your biggest challenge is not going to be writing good content, creating good content. Your biggest challenge is going to be getting eyeballs on it. Your biggest challenge is going to be marketing. Is going to be actually getting people's attention so that they can see your product and they want to buy it. That's attention. Attention is the biggest challenge you're going to have. There are probably thousands of people on DriveThruRPG and DM's Guild creating amazing content that nobody knows about because they can't get people's attention. So that is probably one of the biggest things that you're going to struggle with, in my opinion, is getting people's attention. Because it's become saturated. It's so easy to create a PDF and put it on DM's Guild or DriveThruRPG these days. And so there are so many of them that people go out there and they're just like, what are we going to find? Are they going to find yours? Maybe, maybe not, probably not. And so getting people's attention is the biggest thing, and iterating and trying to keep doing better. And so, well, how do you get people's attention? How do you get people's attention? Well, you can spend 6 years creating a YouTube channel like I did, and then get people's attention. That's a long path. That's a long path. And most people fail.
when they try to take that path, because most people can't do it for various reasons. You can do paid advertising and stuff. You know, you can pay people to talk about your product. I get probably an email every day of somebody that wants to pay me to talk about their product on my channel. And I say no. Well, actually, you know what? I don't even have to say no to most of them. I would say that 50% of them I just delete without responding, because I have no interest in promoting their product, because it's not a good fit for my channel, or X, Y, and Z reasons. The others, I send them my rate card, and then they never respond because my prices are too high, and that's intentional. Thank you very much. And the others that actually do respond and want to do something, my team evaluates their product, and if their product is high enough quality that we feel comfortable recommending it, then we might actually go through with it. But we've said no to many people whose products were just not that good. So my point, I guess I got into a tangent. My point is you can pay for attention as well. So you can pay people to help promote it. You can get Google advertising or Facebook ads or something like that. But I don't know the exact solution. I can only speak from my personal experience. My personal experience has been that I leverage my YouTube channel that I spent a long time developing to get that attention, to help people know about my products. And then people who think that it's valuable will maybe get them. And then if they don't suck, they'll keep on getting them. Because the thing is that even if you can get people's attention for your product, if your product sucks, they're going to stop buying it. And then so you got to have a good product, but you also have to get their attention. You kind of need to have both. So I don't know. There's a bunch of information. I don't know if that's useful, but there you go.
Where is Squeaky on the chonk chart? Has he reached, oh Lord? Squeaky, so on a scale of 1 to 10 on the chonk chart, Squeaky is a solid 8. Absolutely. He is still able to jump and move around and do normal cat stuff, but there is some swag when he runs. And he has trouble jumping too high. But he is not like a balloon, an absolute like round balloon. And I've seen cats like that. That's like a 10 on the chonk scale. He's not there. I think he's a solid 8 in my opinion on the chonk chart. So there you go. What is your process for choosing or making magic items for your games? I roll on random tables, and I also handpick things for my players' characters. I do both. I answered that one. What do you think about giving legendary monsters more than 3 legendary actions each round? I've never given them more than 3 legendary actions each round. The reason you have that is for action economy. But if you have a legendary monster that attacks on his round and does things in his round, they have a Lair action, and then you have 3 legendary actions. You have, what's your action economy? 5 roughly, let's say. How many adventurers do you usually have? 4 to 5. Now, the adventurers usually get 2 attacks each, roughly. The monster is going to get like a multi-attack, maybe 3 attacks or something, plus all of these things, you know. So that's okay. Maybe throw some minions in there, and that's even better. So I personally don't go past 3, and I've never thought about it. And now that I think about it, I don't think I would. It is far better to give the boss monster minions than to have more than 3 legendary actions, in my opinion. I would definitely give them minions first. Oh no, don't give me errors loading data. That freaks me out in my spreadsheet. All right, super chat. Jacob Sharp, thank you for the $5 super chat, dude. How can I introduce exploration without it seeming forced? How can I find my DM style? I'm good at dark descriptions. Answer any of these, your choice. Okay. Well, exploration should never feel forced because you don't actually introduce exploration. There is no introduction whatsoever. Exploration happens at all points during the game.
At any point in a adventure, when they're going through a dungeon or a different location, they're just moving from room to room. They're going down hallways. That's exploration. When they're looking for secret doors or traps, that's exploration. When they're poking around, seeing if there's a false bottom on a chest, that's exploration. All of those things are exploration. There's no introduction to it at all. It just literally happens. It happens over the course of the game. No matter what your players are doing, exploration is present at all times. So there's no real introduction that needs to be made for introduction. How can I find my DM style? Don't look for it. Why are you looking for it? You don't need to look for your DM style. There's nothing to look for. There's nothing to look for. You already have it. It is who you are. Every time you show up for a D&D game, every time you write an adventure, every time you run a game, you're running it in your style. That's your style. What are you looking for it for? Who cares? And who cares what your style? I mean, as long as people are having fun, if you're enjoying yourself, your players are enjoying themselves, who cares what your style is? I'm sure that there are YouTubers who make like videos that talk about your DM style. You know, there are 4 different types of DM styles. Which one are you? Like, who cares? Literally, like, maybe you do. I don't know. But I don't think it should matter. I don't think it should matter. You are who you are. You run games the way you run games. And if everybody's having fun and enjoying themselves, then that's all that really matters. Now, if your way of running games causes people to leave your games and not like playing games with you, well, then that's something to think about. In that case, you might want to think about changing some things up, because if your style is such that nobody wants to play with you, that's an actual problem. But if people are playing with you and your players keep coming back and they're laughing and they're having fun and they're enjoying themselves, then it doesn't matter what your style is. Like, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares, you know? So I wouldn't worry about it. I think that's a non-problem. I think that's definitely a non-problem, in my opinion. There, I answered a couple ones. Good. You got your money's worth, I hope. BK Dan, hello! Thank you for a $2 super chat, dude. $2 for squeaky swag. I want some. You want some squeaky swag? All right, I'll pick Squeaky up. He doesn't like it. Squeaky, come here, buddy. Oh, he's a big boy. He's a big boy. Oh, he's a big boy. Here he is. See, he's a big boy. Squeaky. He's like, I don't like this. Why don't you put me down? Look at the YouTube. Look at the YouTube people. No. There you go. That's Squeaky. Hello, Big D&D. With the angel halo. You're not fooling me. Okay, what am I doing? Oh yes, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, our next Kickstarter, Layers and Legends, is going to be launching very soon. April 5th, in fact. There is a link down in the chat and in the description where you can follow the project and get notified when it goes live. We're going to have 2 hardcover books that are going to have a whole crap ton of stuff for Dungeon Masters. Adventures going from levels 1 to 15 and maybe more, depending upon stretch goals. Tons of new monsters, puzzles, traps, NPCs, villains. We have, I think, some subclasses. We have spells in there. And we got a whole bunch of stuff in there. Tons and tons of resources for you to run your games in. All drag and drop. You can drop them into your existing games. They have digital maps that you can use in virtual tabletops of your choice. So we definitely are producing some really cool stuff that you should definitely take a look at. So click that link, follow the project. It's going to be beautiful. Whee! All right, I'm going to do some scrolly. Can you specify movement? Use your feet. That's the second time I saw that question, which means it's spam and I won't answer it. Hello from Greece. Hello, Greece. Me and my friends never played before. What adventure do you recommend for us? Into the Fae. Into the Fae is a wonderful module from levels 1 to 5 that features Fae creatures. And not everything has to be combat, but a lot of things are as well. So very, very cool. You can get into the Fae on the DM Lair store, link in the chat. I mean, it's my product. I created it. It's really cool. I think you'll probably like it. So you should check it out.
Carrot Hammer is your new identity? What is that? Wow. My DM won't stop spoiling details about the upcoming campaign. Tell him to stop. I've told him that I don't want to know this stuff and he won't stop. Tell him to stop. I'm about to pull out of the campaign. What should I do? I mean, my gut response is to tell him that you're about ready to pull out of the campaign unless he stops. But I don't like that because that's kind of like manipulation. And if a player were to do that on me, I would not like that. And I would just be like, well, screw you then, leave the campaign. So I don't know that I would do that. It's like, do this or else. And I take a very, I react very viscerally to that sort of thing. You know, if a player were to do that to me, I would not be very, yeah, I would probably do the exact same thing that he told me not to do. Just be like, all right, you know what? You want me to do it? I'm going to do it anyway. Boom, you're out. Goodbye. You know, force you to leave or something. So I don't know, dude. Ask him again, make sure he understands what the problem is and stuff like that. And then if he keeps on spoiling it for you, then, you know, maybe it's not the right game for you. Maybe he's not the right dungeon master for you, and maybe you should leave. And it's not necessarily like, sometimes things aren't a good fit. Sometimes it's just not right. And, you know, different people have different ways of playing the game and doing things. And maybe it's just not meant to be, you know, it is what it is. What are you going to do? So I would talk with him. It sounds like you've talked with him, you know, talk with him again. Tell him that, make it clear that it's ruining the game for you and that it's causing you to not have fun and stuff. And that maybe if there's a way that he can talk about it when you're not there so that you don't have to be exposed to it, but he can talk about it to whoever else, maybe there's a way that can happen. Maybe. How do you recommend trying to get a module published? Dude, an entire module, getting it published? Well, the easiest way is to self-publish it, but then nobody's gonna buy it unless you do a Kickstarter for it. But running a successful Kickstarter is not easy at all. You're not gonna pitch your module idea or adventure idea to Wizards and get them to publish it. Yeah. I'll tell you what, Gregory, probably the best way for you to get an adventure you write published is to find a publishing group that takes freelancers and publishes things that freelancers write. So, for instance, as an example, everything that we publish, we have a team of freelancers that write for the DM Lair. Things in Lair magazine, the one-off adventures we write, the map packs. We have freelancers that create all of these resources for people, and we pay them to do so. Now, obviously, we buy the rights to the product so that it's, you know, under the DM Lair umbrella. And so we're selling it, we're doing the marketing, we're doing all that footwork and stuff. But here's the thing, here's the very interesting thing. Most people who publish something on Drive-Thru-RPG or DM's Lair are probably never going to see over $100 come in for the thing that they published. Almost never. What we pay our freelancers at the DM Lair, like, you write an adventure for us, you're going to make $200 to $300. Boom. You're going to make more writing that adventure for us than you will ever make trying to publish it on your own. Ever. All right. So it's going to be more lucrative for you. And then you're going to have your name featured in our publications, which actually have a really decent amount of people that buy the things, you know, compared to like the number of people maybe on DM's Guild or Drive-Thru-RPG. For the majority of publishers who, you know, put their stuff out there and nobody ever buys it because attention is the problem. You know, so probably your best bet is to try to become a freelancer for somebody who takes freelance writing. And then you're actually going to see your stuff in print and people using it. That's probably your best bet. Otherwise, you can self-publish your stuff
but attention is a problem, and you're probably gonna have a hard time getting an audience and getting people to actually buy it. That's the biggest struggle. The actual problem is not publishing it. The problem is not writing it and getting it published and stuff. Now, there might be a quality issue, right? Who knows how good of a writer certain people are and how well they can like do layout and design and PDFs and or physical print and stuff like that. But writing it and publishing it is just like small apples. The bigger issue is getting people's attention so that they see your product and they care about your product and they want to buy your product. That is the most challenging thing about publishing, in my opinion. Anybody can learn to get better at writing and doing. You can pay people to write it for you. You can pay people to do layout and design. You can pay people to do all of those things, but it's really hard to pay for attention. It's not that hard, but it's expensive. It's very expensive. And even here's the other thing too. Sometimes paying for attention doesn't work out well for you. There's a Kickstarter right now that I actually had the company that was helping to promote the Kickstarter reached out to me and they wanted me to help promote the Kickstarter. And I told them no. The Kickstarter, their Kickstarter was also a magazine and it's basically a competitor to like the magazine that I publish. And so I was like, there's a conflict of interest here and I'm not going to be able to promote that magazine. And they were like, oh, that's cool. That's fine. But that magazine right now is on Kickstarter and it's not doing super well in my opinion. But here's the thing. I have seen very big names in the D&D circle promoting that magazine. I literally saw there's this one person that's blue. She does a lot of blue stuff. She dresses up and she's blue all the time or green or turquoise or something. And I saw a video with her promoting it and stuff and they paid her some money. I guarantee you, she probably doesn't do stuff for cheap. And they were reaching out to me. I'm sure they were reaching out to other creators. And so the person that was doing that Kickstarter for that magazine was paying some money for attention. Guarantee you. And yet when I looked at the Kickstarter this morning, I think I was looking at it this morning, I noticed that it wasn't really doing that well. And it only had like 10 or 8 days to go or something like that. And so even paying for attention doesn't always work out for you. It doesn't always work out for you. Uh-oh. Cat hair. This is Squeaky's cat hair too. There's black and then white. That's Squeaky's cat hair. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, you can kind of see it. That's Squeaky. That's Squeaky right there. He was in my coffee. Goliath Cleric says, I saw several people promoting that one. It honestly doesn't make sense to do a Kickstarter for that type of product. No, I don't think it does. If you're doing a monthly publication, I don't think you need to do a Kickstarter for that. Yeah, I don't think you do. Like, just start publishing it. Just start publishing it. You're gonna have a small audience at first, but you can start, like when we started Lair magazine, we just started publishing it. It doesn't take a whole lot. You might pay a couple $1,000 maybe per issue or something to start publishing something that's a magazine. It's not that expensive to publish magazines. It's not. It's just not. So, yeah, I don't know. Coffee is for people. Yes. Yes. Thank you. All right. Okay. Let's go down to here. Luke, Gourd Into the Fae commissioned a mall shaped like a carrot. It is now part of my being. Signed, Tony. Okay. Thanks, Tony. Do you let your players choose their conjured animals? Usually I do. There's a debate on this, whether the dungeon master chooses or the players choose, etc, etc, etc. Usually I let them choose. I do limit summons to 2 though. You can only have 2 summoned creatures. So you're better off doing the higher CR. So I do have that rule for good reason, but I usually let them choose. If they start breaking the game with it though, my players are knowledgeable enough about the way I do things to know that if they start summoning pixies that are going to transform them into T-Rexes, they know me. They know that I'm not just going to let that go, and that then at that point they're shooting themselves in the feet, because I will now have to institute certain rules that will, you know, prevent them from breaking the game. So my players are all really amazing. They generally avoid doing things to break the game because they know that if they do that, I will be forced to take action. And they would rather just not have to cross that bridge. It's not like I'm going to be a jerk to them, but it's just like, why even do that if you know that the dungeon master is then just going to have to do something so that you can't do it again? Like, you might as well just not do it. You know, it's you know what I mean? So anyway, I usually don't have to struggle with that at all. My players are all mostly pretty dang awesome. All right, cat trip time. Let's do the cat trip. Before we do the cat trip, by the way, the cat trip. Look at this. Cat crack. This is just catnip, by the way, people. Don't report me to YouTube. YouTube doesn't care. You think YouTube cares? Yeah, they don't care. They just say they care. Anyway, that's not the point. I literally paid twice as much for this catnip because it says cat crack. All the other catnip was like half price of this, but I paid for the label. I had to have that label. So anyway, we're gonna do a cat trip. Squeaky is already getting excited for this. Before we do that, I'm gonna play a little video that's gonna give you more information about my next Kickstarter, Layers and Legends, which is gonna be amazing, and you should totally click the link down below to follow it and get notified when the project launches.
This content is brought to you by the Layers and Legends Kickstarter, coming in early 2022. Are you a dungeon master looking to reduce your prep time but still run awesome games for your players? Would you like professional pre-made 5th edition adventures, maps, traps, puzzles, magic items, and other resources you can drag and drop into your existing campaign? The Layers and Legends Kickstarter will create 2 gorgeous hardcover books for dungeon masters containing all of this and more. The first book, Layers and Legends, will deliver 25 5th edition compatible adventures spanning levels 1 to 15 and over 100 new terrifying monsters to pit against your players. The second book, Loot and Lore, will deliver 50 magic items, 25 puzzles, 40 traps, 10 factions, 30 standalone encounters with maps, 30 villains, 30 NPCs, 70 random tables, 30 adventure ideas, 20 spells, and 4 subclasses. And through the beauty of Kickstarter and stretch goals, we'll be able to commission beautiful artwork for both books and add even more content. Furthermore, in addition to the hardcovers, you can also get both books in PDF format and a digital map pack containing all the maps from both books. And if you'd like to pick up a hardcover copy of our last Kickstarter, Into the Fae, it will be available as an add-on to Layers and Legends. Click the link below to join the Layers and Legends email list and get notified when it goes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We have gathered here the Happy Carrot. Check this out, you guys. The Happy Carrot has lost 2 of its feathers. They have been ripped off. So the Happy Carrot is getting less and less happy every time we do this. And then of course we have this mutilated thing, which we don't even know what it is anymore. But we're gonna put some catnip on these and we're gonna give it to Squeaky, and he is gonna roll around and act like a crazy maniac. All right, Squeaky, don't let people down. They're all waiting on you. All right, and here's some more. I'll be back.
Crash and burn. Crash and no burn. Now I'm gonna hit the like button. Yes, because the cat is rolling around. Look at that. You see? People don't come to the channel for me. They just want to see Squeaky. I should just have like a 24-hour live stream. It's literally just gonna be Squeaky rolling around on camera. He's probably gonna eat them. He's totally gonna eat them. Yeah. These are possibly the most spoiled cats I've ever seen. Yeah, they pretty much are. They are absolutely spoiled. They get the food they want. They get treat every morning. They get catnip. They have laser point. I have automatic laser pointers that turn on and off, so they can like chase the laser pointers and stuff. Yeah, but you know, it's not. There he goes. It doesn't cost a whole lot to spoil cats though, you know, and they're happy. So I always tell my wife, we gotta give them less food. My wife always gives them more food. Like, I try to give them food twice a day and they gobble it up, and then my wife is giving them more, and I'm like, look, they're fat, they need less food, not more. And she's like, but they were hungry, they were meowing at me. They were all staring at me. I'm like, no, they need to eat less. Cat streaking? Yes, that was cat streaking right there. He's a little psycho. Is there a point where you give your players information either forgotten or unpursued out of character, or is it preferred to just do it in-game organically? If it's in-character information, it should be given in character, I think. I don't think I would give in-character information out of character unless they had learned it in character and they had forgotten or something, and then I might tell them. But I usually just give it to them organically. The exception to this probably is when I run one-shots. When I run a one-shot, I will literally post the backstory and necessary information to my players before the game begins so that we can get right into the game and start playing. When you only have 4 hours to run a game, you do not want to spend the first hour learning what the adventure is about, talking to the NPC quest giver, having a conversation. No, you want to get right into the adventure. And so I will post that ahead of time and give them a bunch of in-character information before the game begins, so that once the one shot begins, we can start playing the game. So, and then we start out in the dungeon or wherever the adventure is taking place, and then we start playing the game. Yeah, all of that lead up and stuff to actually get to what I consider to be the most interesting part of the game, we kind of like skip a lot of that and front load it into a post so that we can just start playing the game when it's time to play the game. So that's like an exception, I think, for one-shot games. How should I introduce a new player to a campaign? She is very new and is still actually undecided about playing, but she likes the role playing itself. What are the ways to introduce her? So my recommendation would be to not worry about the rules a whole lot. Don't overburden her with the rules and making sure she understands the rules and all that kind of stuff. The complexity of the rules for a first-time player could drive them away, and especially if she's already on the fence. Let her simply do the thing that she wants to do. She wants to role play her character. Great. She comes to the game, and you simply tell her, look, D&D is a game about where I as a dungeon master describe a situation to you, and you as a player tell me what your character would say and do. That's it. That's all you have to do. There are dice and there are rules, but don't worry about those. I will describe a situation or a scene. You tell me what you say and do. Your character, obviously. And then if there are dice to be rolled and rules that apply, I'll handle that. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. Make it as easy as you can for her so she doesn't feel overwhelmed and doesn't think it's super complicated. The rules will come later. She'll get the hang of it and she'll learn that later on. But try to make it as easy to come into that game
as welcoming to her, and take as much pressure off as you can so that she can do the thing that's most appealing to her, which is just role playing her character. And then that probably has the best chance of her sticking around and actually learning and playing and stuff like that down the road. Any tips for running cities, towns, villages without it just being a list of standard locations, blacksmith, tavern, etc.? Well, you can obviously make unique locations, unique and special things, obviously. Look at him. He's just running around. He's just kicking my boxes. Squeaky. Do you guys know how much that cardboard box cost me? Yeah, a lot of money, that cardboard box. That big tub. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. My recommendation for cities and towns, besides creating unique and interesting locations, is probably to have like certain plot points, things that you want to happen while they're in town that are actually interesting, that they'll think that are fun and exciting. I don't know what that is. I don't know. You make stuff up, use your creativity, use your imagination. But it sounds like you want a town or a city to not be this dull standard affair that most towns and cities are. So do something about it. Make there be things that happen, exciting stuff, plot points that you hit, things that happen. That's the solution. You treat it like an adventure. You treat it like a special event in your game, and you make something interesting happen to spice things up. Are you guys all knocking my cardboard box? The Colonel says $2. Penguin Butt says not many cents. Goliath Cleric says you pay for cardboard boxes? I just use the ones I get from stuff like Into the Fae. My moderators are all mocking me. They're all mocking my cardboard box. Oh, we need new moderators. All right. Who wants to be a moderator? We're cleaning house tonight. Let's do it. Ed, I don't think Ed mocked me. All right, Ed, we're firing everybody and we're getting new moderators tonight. Let's do this. Ed's in charge. Homebrew Fiend says we love your moderators. We love you, mods. Ed says, I'm not mocking you, Luke. I don't have time. Oh, are you in the spreadsheet? The mod revolution. The mockerators. Oh, that's awesome. Zack says, isn't that what you're paying me for? Oh, man. Yeah, Ed's in the spreadsheet. Okay. Hemabut says, that's it. I'm an acting operation. What? What does that mean? Someone grab Danny. What? I don't know what's going on. All right. Well, you know what? I'm just going to keep on doing my thing here. If my moderators overthrow me, then I guess I'll have to deal with that at some point. That's terrifying, but also pretty funny. Do you have tips for an urban campaign? I mean, I've run urban campaigns and I think they're pretty similar to running non-urban campaigns. The only difference is that the adventures take place in cities, but you still have locations, the sewers, the castle, the building, the manor, the church, the catacombs below the church. Like, there's no difference. You're still in essence running a D&D game. It's still a D&D game. The adventures just take place in locations inside the city instead of locations outside the city. It's still the same game. Like, unless you mean something ostensibly different when you say urban game, urban campaign. Like, I've run urban campaigns before. They're still D&D games, the same as I would normally run. Now, do they meet with, are there higher level NPCs there? Are there members of, like, the city watch or the city guard? Do they meet with the Lords of Waterdeep or something? Like, do they run into people like that? Are there like different organizations like guilds and stuff? Sure. They might run into some of those people. Will you flesh them out a little bit? Maybe, yeah. Will there be some politics involved? Maybe. There could be. There doesn't have to be. Some people don't like games with politics in them, and it's just not fun. They just want to go on adventures and kill crap. So you could make an urban campaign different. It really depends on what you mean by urban campaign. I've run them before, and they're not a whole lot different than just running any old D&D game, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't know. Oh, by the way, we are doing a giveaway. There's a link in the chat somewhere around here for the giveaway. A D&D book of your choice or store credit in the DM Lair store, where you can get lots of cool stuff like back issues of Lair magazine. We have map packs with digital maps you can use, standalone adventures and stuff. I have to pet a cat. Cat needs attention down here. So we're also trying to raise money for BACA, Bikers Against Child Abuse. There's a link down in the chat as well if you would like to help us raise money for BACA. It'd be very cool. I just love the idea of a biker beating the crap out of a child abuser. I know they don't do that. I know they don't. But I think that would be cool. Have you guys seen Sons of Anarchy? Wow. Sons of Anarchy is an amazing miniseries. Oh my word. Wow, it is so good. And it actually has an ending too, a real ending. So it's very, very cool. If you haven't seen Sons of Anarchy, I highly recommend it. It's so good. Simpaticos, hello, what's up, dude? This cat. Mommy, what are you doing? No, what? BACA like an anime girl? I don't even know what that is. I don't watch anime at all. At all. I can't do that stuff. I think I saw like about maybe under a minute of an anime movie once or something, and I was like, ooh, this is not my cup of tea. And I clicked off that very quickly. I did that one. How do I know if something is exciting or not? By watching your players, reading the room. Look at their faces. Look at their faces. Are they smiling? Are they laughing? Do you see a look of anticipation, or are they bored out of their minds? That's the way you can tell if something you're doing as a game master is exciting or not. I have seen you co-stream with Dungeon Coach. Yep, we've done that. We did that once before. Do you use any of his homebrew rules in your games? No, I don't. Or are there any that you would consider? I don't know what they are. Like, I don't really pay attention to his stuff that he publishes. I don't really watch any of his videos either. He and I are friends. We talk all the time. Usually about business stuff. But I just don't pay. The funny thing is that it's interesting. Sometimes you're so busy just doing your own thing, you don't have time to pay attention to what other people are doing. You just don't. You don't. And so I know he makes videos. I know he has a publication. He did a Kickstarter that did really well. I backed his Kickstarter, and so I'm expecting a book at some point. But I don't pay attention to all of his homebrew rules and stuff like that. I just don't have time. I don't pay attention to a lot of the different people that are doing lots of different stuff. I just don't pay attention. I have so much that I'm doing myself that takes up 100% of my attention. Just getting my own stuff done. Dalton Towers, hello, thank you. I appreciate that. This cat just needs attention. Jeez. John asks, what are the homebrew rules you are currently using? Anything to replace inspiration? I don't like it a whole lot. No, I mean, I have a luck point system. If you look on my YouTube channel for luck points, I have an entire video that explains my luck point system, which I used for a while and then stopped using because it's kind of broken and overbalanced. The video doesn't explain that, but after playtesting it for about a year or so with a couple groups, we determined that it was broken and overpowered, and so we stopped using it. And now we just use inspiration again. A lot of my homebrew rules we test out for a while, and then some of them we keep and some of them we throw away, because you just never know when you're creating something new. I have an insanity system that I'm using right now for my Curse of Strahd group. I have a video talking about my insanity system. We also published it in an issue of Lair magazine. I think it was in our February issue. Was it Sanity and Sabotage, I think was the name of our February issue. If you become a DM Lair patron, there's a link in the chat right there. You'll get the March issue, which just came out last week, I think. And then you'll also get the February issue of Lair magazine. And the February issue has my insanity system in it that I'm using. Goliath Cleric, who's in the chat right now, also goes by Zack. That's his real name. He wrote the insanity system that we're currently using. I think you wrote the whole thing pretty much, didn't you, dude? I'm pretty sure you did like the whole thing. There was probably some some peer review or something. I'm sure Ed was looking at it and there was some tweaks and stuff. Then I was playtesting it and I gave you some feedback, but I'm pretty sure that was pretty much all you. So anyway, he's one of our writers. He's like one of our lead writers for our publications and stuff. So those are like some homebrew rules that I've done. We did something with initiative as well, but we didn't like it. So we went back to normal initiative rules. Goliath Cleric says, I wrote the whole thing. I wrote most of that issue. Wow. Yeah, you wrote the insanity system. There were the adventures in there that you wrote. Yeah, dude. You He's like, I wrote most of that. Yeah. That's why we pay you a lot of money. Cuz you write a lot of this crap, dude. It's awesome. Yes, if you buy Lair magazine on the DM Lair store, you get all 3 tiers. You get everything. The back issues on the DM Lair store contain everything. So yeah, don't worry about not getting what you want. It's all on there. You know, I said we were going to look at there is an Unearthed Arcana that came out, and we were going to look at it, and I forgot about it. So let's go find the Unearthed Arcana, and I think it just came out recently. When did it come out? When did the most recent Unearthed Arcana come out? Does anybody know? Was it today or something? Let's see if we can actually find it. Unearthed Arcana! Heroes of Krynn! Oh, it came out yesterday. All right, it came out yesterday. Well, we're going to take a look at this. All right, this is playtest content. Whee! It's draft form. It's usable in your D&D campaign, but it's not refined by final game development. All right, let's download this. Here we go. All right, we're going to take a look at this. So, by the way, folks, we now know what the next 2 campaign settings are going to be. We're going to have Spelljammer, I believe, and then Dragonlance. You're going to see those coming out this year, I guarantee you. I don't know what order, but they've been releasing stuff and teasing stuff, and we're pretty sure at this point that you're going to see a Spelljammer and I think it was Spelljammer. Was it Spelljammer or Planescape? Or what do they call that thing? It was one of those two. I don't keep them straight. But and then we have stuff being released for Krynn, so you're almost assuredly going to see campaign setting for Dragonlance come out. So we're gonna talk about Kender. Don't you worry, we're gonna talk about Kender. Kender, that magical species that everybody loves. We're gonna talk about Kender. Don't you worry. All right, so let's see what we got in here. Oh, okay, it literally starts with Heroes of Krynn, Kender. No, Kender are not Heroes of Krynn. Everybody hates Kender. We're gonna talk about Kender, Sorcerer subclass, backgrounds, and feats. Okay. Playtest material.
Ability score increases. Yep, we understand how that works. Languages, creature type, lifespan, blah, 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 blah. Okay, Kender. Let's talk about Kender. Native to the world of Kryn, Kender are diminutive humanoids that look like humans with pointed ears and diverse appearances. Kender have a supernatural curiosity that drives them on adventures big and small. This curiosity is said to be connected with the whimsical magic of the Feywild that some believe Kender have a high affinity for. Due to their curiosity, many Kender have found themselves falling through gates and portals to other planes and worlds. Woo! Unknown to most mortals, a magical phenomenon surrounds a Kender. Spurred by their curiosity and love for trinkets, curios, and keepsakes, a Kender's pouches or pockets will be magically filled with these objects. No one knows where these objects come from, not even the Kender. This has led many Kender to be mislabeled as thieves when they fish these items out of their pockets. Okay, so I am not an expert on Dragonlance. Kender, when they were originally published, is that really the way it worked? Or did they literally steal from people? Because my understanding is that Kender as a species don't have a conception of ownership, and they just feel that everything kind of belongs to you can just take whatever you want from anyone because they don't have like a concept of ownership. That was my understanding. And so they literally would just take things from people. Yeah, exactly. So that is, they did. Ed says they flippin' PC'd Kender. They did. They made Kender politically correct. They absolutely did. So when they were originally published, Kender were thieves, literally. They would just steal from people. They just stole absentmindedly. Yeah. They didn't have a concept of the morality or the immoral nature of stealing. They thought that everything just kind of belonged to everybody and they could just take what they needed. So Kender would literally just go around taking things, which would be very offensive to other races. And so here we see that they are literally changing the species of Kender to make them more palatable, to make them probably more politically correct or something, so that they're not seen as thieves. So I'm sure there are people who like Kender or just like the way that Dragonlance was originally made that are going to take offense to that. Anyway, they ruined the Furbolgs, so why not mess with the Kender too? It probably makes it better though. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, yeah, this is pretty standard. Saving throws, blah, 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 blah. Kender Ace. Starting at 3rd level, you possess a magical ability to pull an item out of a bag or another container. As a bonus action, you can reach into a container you're carrying and roll on the Kender Aces table to determine what item you pull out. The object glimmers softly and disappears after 1 hour. You can use this bonus action a number of times to get your proficiency bonus. Okay, cool. Okay, that seems pretty standard, not a big deal. Taunt. You have a supernatural ability to home in on a creature's emotional raw nerves and craft a taunt that flusters that creature. As a bonus action, you can unleash a barrage of insults at a creature within 60 feet of you that can hear and understand you. The target must succeed, or it has disadvantage on attack rolls until the start of your next turn. You can use it equal to your proficiency bonus. Okay, there's really nothing overpowered or anything about this. This is there's nothing big, not a big deal here. There's really nothing to see here. There's nothing special or interesting, in my opinion, by this. You just got some stuff. Okay, cool. There's Kender. So, as I said, I'm not a big Dragonlance guy. I never read any of the books or anything like that. I don't know a whole lot about it. But there are a lot of people that get really, 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 really bent out of shape about Kender. And so I'm like, I'm a curious guy. I wanted to know why everybody gets upset about Kender. And so I went on the internet and I started researching Kender. And apparently, there's a couple things that historically have been problematic for Kender in a game. And the first thing that happens is because Kender they steal from everybody. I mean, not anymore. They've changed the lore now so that they don't steal. But anyway, Kender and Dragonlance they just steal from everybody. I mean,
they don't see it as stealing from their point of view, but everybody else sees it as stealing. And so in a D&D game, if you have a Kender player, a Kender character, they're going to be stealing from the other people in their group. And that can easily cause tensions in a gaming group when you have a character who is stealing from the other players and taking their characters' things. And so this is one reason that people don't like Kender in the game, because they're stealing their own allies' stuff, and that can tend to piss them off. The other thing that I was reading too is that apparently Kender had certain personality traits that would make them really, really, really annoying. I don't know exactly what they were. I didn't get quite that deep into my research, but many people who would roleplay Kenders would have them be super, super, super annoying. And so here you have a character who is stealing stuff from people, ticking them off, and they're role-playing their character in a very annoying way. And so you have a couple reasons right off the bat that are going to annoy the crap out of other players in that game, and they're not going to want anybody playing a Kender in their games. That is the little bit of things that I could glean from reading on it and stuff. So 100% totally understand why people would not want to have Kenders and why they would hate them. I don't allow players' characters to steal from other characters in my games. Don't allow it. That's PvP to me, and there is a huge probability that somebody's going to get pissed off at another player. And then you're going to have drama and tension and conflict in your gaming group, and I don't want that. I don't want to cross that bridge. I just rather not have that. The other thing too is that I had a player once who had a character, I think he was a gnome, but one of his character traits was that he was annoying. That was literally on his character sheet. It was his character trait that his gnome was annoying. Let me tell you, did I hate that? I bet many of my players hated that. Like, there were times I was tempted to just ask him, hey, you know what? We get that you designed your character to be annoying and that you're role-playing your character to be annoying, but we're all really annoyed by it, and it is not making our game any better. So could you stop role-playing your character as being annoying? Because it's literally annoying, and we don't like it. So I had a character role-playing being an annoying gnome, and it was annoying, and nobody liked it. Well, I'm assuming nobody liked it. I didn't like it. I'm pretty sure other players didn't like it. And so to have an entire species, the Kender, that is annoying, apparently, according to my research, is problematic. I would not want an annoying character, annoying species in the game. It just annoys the crap out of people. Like, nobody wants that. So, yeah. According to my research and all of the griping and complaining, those are a couple of reasons that people didn't like Kender. The other thing that was really weird too is that didn't make sense to me either, is that apparently Kender are known for just stealing other stuff, people's stuff. And yet somehow all of the other species like elves and humans and dwarves were all very affectionate toward the Kender. Oh, they're just little Kender. Oh, you don't be evil. You can't be. They're just Kender. They don't know any better. It's okay. It's okay for them to just be stealing everything. And so apparently there was this sense of tolerance for this one species that would just steal from everybody else. And then somehow they got the pass. Somehow it was okay for them. I don't know about you, but like when I'm in different cultures, I try to be culturally sensitive. I have traveled to places where it is not acceptable to wear shorts. You are supposed to wear long pants. And so guess what? I wear long pants. I am intelligent enough, wise enough, whatever you want to call it, to know that I should, not be culturally insensitive. So let's pretend that you are a species like Kender and you don't know that it's stealing. You just think everybody owns everything else. You should still know that it's not culturally acceptable when you're with elves or humans or dwarves to take their things. You should know that they get upset by it. You should be sensitive enough not to do that to them. And it doesn't make sense to me. You know, it seems like at some point the other species would just freak out and be like, these stupid Kender gotta go. And then there would just be like, you know, war until the Kender were like, you know, driven out in hiding because they're just like despicable, annoying little thieves or something. I don't know. There's just something about that just seems implausible to me, that the other species would just ignore their horrible acts. So I don't know. Again, I don't know a whole lot about Dragonlance or the lore and stuff, so I might be overlooking something very obvious that makes sense to more people than to me, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems kind of annoying. Sorry. Kender before UA, annoying thieves. Yeah. Kender after UA, magic taunting junk drawers. Yes, they're junk drawers. They're junk drawers. Everybody has a junk drawer in their house full of junk. All right, let's go back to looking at this. That was my nice little Kender rant. That was beautiful. All right, let's take a look at some of the more of the Unearthed Arcana over here. So you have a sorcerer subclass. I'm not gonna read every little thing on here. I'm just not gonna do it. They have lunar magic, which is a druid thing, right? So gods of magic are associated with the world's 3 moons. Okay, so maybe it's a Kryn thing. All right. You have lunar magic. I don't know. I'm gonna gloss over that. I'm sorry. I'm not super interested in that. Some backgrounds. Okay, backgrounds are just like whatever. A mage of high sorcery. I don't get into backgrounds a whole lot. I usually just use backgrounds from the player handbook. Feats. Oh, feats. This could be actually interesting. Ambitious magic. You learn 1 second level spell of your choice. Second level spell must be blah 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 blah. Your ambition and loyalty to the Order of the Black Robes. Okay. Adept to the Black Robes. Oh, so it's high sorcery initiate feat. Oh, so these interesting. Wait. You have prerequisites. Initiate of high sorcery. Oh, so those feats are only available to this background. That is a new mechanic. I don't think we've ever had feats that are only available to certain backgrounds. Like, you have to be this background to get those feats. That is super interesting. I don't know that I've ever seen that mechanic before. Wow. I can see people ignoring that, and just as long as you're a spellcaster, you can take them. I'm not going to read through all of these. I'm just not interested enough in it. It's out there if you want to read it. I'm not going to read through it all and give my comments on it. In fact, I'm done. I really just wanted to talk about Kender. Sorry. All right, we're gonna keep answering questions now. I got bored with Unearthed Arcana. Nothing in it really appealed to me, and I got bored. I'm sorry. I'm irresponsible. You can go out and read it yourself. It's free. All right. Let's go back to the questions. Far more interesting than looking at Unearthed Arcana. Oh yeah, sign up for the giveaway, guys. Sign up for the D&D book giveaway. There's a link in the chat. Simpatico says, yeah, I almost always ignore Unearthed Arcana. Boring. Bye, John. DC Artificer, hello. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Dude, I appreciate that. They said, we love you, Luke, and we backed your Kickstarter as well. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate that. I hope you're still here. Your super chat was from 17 minutes ago.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Hope you're still here. He's like, dude, I said really good stuff about you, and I sent you money, and you never even saw it. I saw it. I'm just slow. Heather Burke is still here. What's up, Heather? Heather, you've been here from the beginning. It's awesome. Been DMing for 4 years now. What are your thoughts on handouts? I like handouts. Use handouts whenever you can. I usually do letters. My players will, I usually have like my big bad will be writing letters to the lieutenants, giving them instructions and stuff. And so when a player is going against a big bad or against a lieutenant and they take out the lieutenant, they usually find a letter from the big bad that gives them information. And a lot of times this information reveals a little bit more about what the big bad is doing. And it also gives them a clue as to where to go next and what to do next. And so it serves double purpose. And so I like handouts, and I don't do them super much anymore. I think I've gotten away from it, probably because I'm busy and I don't have as much time to do that. But I definitely like handouts, and they're very, very good. Who do you playtest your material with? So the material that we playtest is usually just the material that actually matters for playtesting. So most of the stuff that a dungeon master uses, like adventures or traps or puzzles, those things are I don't know what the word is. They don't last very long in the game. They're there and then they're gone. An adventure is over in a few game sessions. A trap or a puzzle is over in 15 minutes. It's gone. You're never going to see it again. So they don't last a whole long time. Now, a subclass, an entire class, different rule systems like an insanity rule system, those type of things, those persist in the game a whole lot longer. And those are more important to playtest. And so a lot of times we do playtesting, like we have some homebrew rules that we're planning on publishing in future issues, and Goliath Cleric is going to be doing some playtesting with it and stuff like that. And so we playtest some of this stuff as well. But a lot of the stuff, like, you don't really need to playtest it, like adventures, traps, and puzzles. And here's the other thing. Sometimes playtesting this stuff, every group is going to be different. It's all going to be different. It depends on your group makeup. It depends on the players. It depends on the characters and classes they're running. Like, you could get totally wide and varied playtest results from one group is like, wow, this is really challenging. Another group is like, this is really easy. You know what I mean? And there's so many variables involved, you know? And so do we want to literally write, let's pretend like it's Lair magazine. Do we want to write an issue of Lair magazine and then have it be playtested over the course of 6 months or so, and then make some changes and then publish it and have it be like marginally better? Or would we rather get it in people's hands right away so they can start using it in their groups? We're going to get it to people quickly so they can start using it in their groups. That's the way we're going to do it. So some things need it, a lot of things don't. And when you create your own homebrew stuff for your games, guess who's playtesting it? You and your players, and you tweak it as you go. And most of it doesn't persist very long and it's over, so it's not that big of a deal. But if you're doing something like a subclass, you want to playtest that because those persist for a long time in the game. My players adopted the big bad. Any advice for making that character sheet? I have no idea what the heck that even means. How do you adopt the big bad? Isn't the big bad gonna just like murder them? Or they're still a bad person. They're still doing bad things in the world, right? I don't even know what that means. Did they defeat the big bad and the big bad gave up and now the big bad became on their team? If you're role playing the big bad, they have a stat block, not a character sheet. You never make character sheets for NPCs or enemies or villains or monsters. You use stat blocks. That's the way to go. Character sheets are for players because character sheets are designed for people who only have to focus on one thing, playing their character. Adoption papers signed blindly. Wow. How quickly should character backstory elements and hooks present themselves in a long campaign? There's no real answer to that. When I'm running a new campaign, I usually have the group do about 3 adventures, get to level 3 or so before I start introducing backstory elements, perhaps, which usually are separate adventures they can go on. Plot hooks, I introduce plot hooks as frequently as I feel I need to. I usually try to have my players have a variety of options they can choose from, so they don't feel like there's only one thing they could do. I want them to have a few things they can choose from. And so if they start going on adventures and they're accomplishing things and their number of plot hooks is being reduced, then I start giving them more. It's just a gut feel for what seems to be the right pace. There's no real answer to it. Or there's no like right answer, I should say. My players are going on a quest to deactivate 12 altars in different terrains and places in order to stop a devil lord from returning. What are tips to keep games fresh and exciting? Okay, so tips to keep the game fresh and exciting are immaterial to like the context itself. You want each adventure to feel a little bit different. Every single adventure should feel different, should have a unique feel to it. Example, the first time they go in to deactivate an altar, it's just a slog, it's a dungeon crawl, there are enemies, you gotta defeat them and stuff. The second time, there might be a different premise. Instead of just dungeon where you have a bunch of guards that are like just guarding the altar or something, maybe something unique is going on. Maybe the altar is in the middle of a jungle and there are a bunch of wild animals in there and there's a bunch of different crazy stuff going on and it's just something unique, something different that isn't what was the first time. So you just want each adventure to go on and deactivate an altar to feel different. You want it to feel unique. The premise is different. The setting is different. The things that are going on in that environment are different. If every single one is literally just dungeon, altar, bad guys, go kill them all, destroy the altar, it's going to start to feel super repetitive. You want things to just have a different feel and atmosphere to them, and then it's going to feel more exciting. It's going to feel more different. My one of my groups right now is they are going into 9 different dungeons, bastions, dark bastions, to defeat some bad people in those dungeons. And their goal is really just to just kill everybody in the dungeons is their goal. But I'm trying to make every single one of these dungeons they're going in feel a little bit different, be a little bit unique, have different features in it, so that that's what keeps it fresh and interesting. It doesn't just feel like you're rinsing and repeating. It literally feels like you're doing something different and unique, and that's what makes it fresh and interesting. How do you prevent burnout for DMing? If you're DMing too much, you'll get burned out. If you're running too many games, if you're not having fun, you'll get burned out. If you're getting bored with your own games, you'll get burned out. Sometimes you just take breaks. Sometimes you need to read books. You need to read the monster manuals. You need to focus on things that are actually fun for you. Sometimes we worry too much about our players having fun, and we don't think enough about us having fun. And if we're not having fun as the dungeon masters, then our games are not going to last very long, and we're going to get burned out, and they're going to be over. So think about your own fun too, and take a break if you need to. What pet would you have if you couldn't have a cat? I couldn't have a cat. Not a dog. I don't really like dogs. Dogs are very high maintenance. They're very needy and they restrict your life. By going on vacation with dogs and stuff. Yeah, not a dog. Squirrels bite and chew everything and are insane. So squirrels are not good pets at all. They're very bad pets. I think I would just have a kid. I think a kid make a good wild animal. Yeah, I don't know. A turtle? Well, you know, nice to jimimum. Dogs being noisy is the very reason to have a dog. That is the reason to have a dog, in my opinion. Like, the reason that I actually like having the dog that we have is my hope is that she turns into a good, like, barker. So if anybody ever breaks into the house or something, she will bark a lot and wake us up and alert us to there being a problem. And so that in my opinion is the reason to have a dog, so that they will bark and alert you when there's a problem. They're like one of the best burglar alarms you can have is a dog. Absolutely. Yeah. So when we were told about the dog that needed to have a home, I've never really liked small dogs either. I've had German Shepherds and stuff, and I love those. But I'd never really liked small dogs a lot, except that they're very good security systems. So that's like the reason to have a small dog, in my opinion. So they'll bark at people and wake you up. Geese? Then you could have geese? Oh, really? Geese are great alarms? Oh my gosh, really? That sounds so interesting. Can you train them not to poop all over your house? That's the real question. Because I don't want geese poop in my house. That's the problem with squirrels too, by the way. That's why squirrels, you cannot have a squirrel in your house. It will chew everything and it will poop all over the place. A bird? Oh, yeah. Geese are the whole security system. Dude, geese are loud though, too. I heard a story once that where I work my day job, there's one part of the building exterior, there's a lake. And then there's a bridge that goes across, what's a pond? But there's a bridge that goes across the pond. There's like a walkway. And there are geese all over the place. And I was told that one day somebody was walking on that walkway across the pond and a goose was like going at this person, wings spread, like, rah, 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 you know, like attacking the person. And the person like freaked out and fell off the walkway into the water. I thought that was the most hilarious thing in the world. Have a goose attack you and you fall in the water. Wow. I don't know how dangerous geese are though. I know that wild turkeys have like really nasty claws. So I wouldn't want to tangle with a wild turkey. But a goose, I mean, I know they have the beaks. I'm sure that hurts. But I don't know. Hopefully they could swim. I don't know. It was an office worker. So maybe. I don't know. I work with a lot of office workers. They might be able to swim. Wild geese are not dangerous. They can hurt, but they can't do any actual damage. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like their beaks can probably hit you, but what are they going to actually do to you? And they have these big long necks, you know? Like it's just asking to be grabbed, you know, like, and then go away. I don't know. It pinches real hard. Oh, jeez.
not afraid of getting pinched. Now, if it has claws where it's going to be like a turkey, that might be a thing. Geese make the mistake of having a long, thin neck. Yeah, that's really, it's a design flaw. Unless you're on the water and you want to have elevation so you can see around you for predators, you know what I mean? Then that's probably why they have the long necks. But then ducks, what happened to ducks? Ducks don't have long necks. Older male turkeys use a 1-inch sharp spur on the back of their legs to attack. Yeah. Okay, they have a spur? Okay, cool. Kangaroos are dumber than sheep and are mega dangerous when angry. Yeah, I was watching it was a list or something about the most dangerous animals, and kangaroos were on that list. Like, this is very interesting. There was a list of like the world's most dangerous animals, and like 8 of them were in Australia. It was like crazy how many of these dangerous animals were in Australia. I was like, dang, dude, there's a place to maybe not live. Sorry for anybody who's from Australia. Man. These streams know how to tangent. Yeah, I get bored of talking about D&D, I guess. I don't know. It's not my fault. It's my moderators. Oh, hippo. Yeah, hippos are nuts. Yep, hippos are very dangerous. Australia is just full of mad lads. There's a moderators, can you put a link to the mug? There's like a mug. I have a link for it. It's similar to it. You can't get this actual one anymore. I don't think the company exists at all. How many chucks would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck Norns? Oh, Norris. Oh, cool. That's cool. Thank you. 5. All right. Let's do our giveaway. Let's do our giveaway, folks. There's a link in the chat. If you have not signed up for the giveaway yet, please sign up for the giveaway. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to sign up for the giveaway. I am so tired. I need to go to bed. Geese have teeth on their tongue? What? Tamiya? Good gravy. Yeah, so anybody who's upset that their question didn't get answered, look. These are all the questions I get. $161 questions. I am not a machine. I do the best I can. That's all I can do. Sign up for the giveaway, folks. All right, I gotta find this thing. Where's my giveaway? I gotta open it up. Giveaway. Yes, there's always the next stream. Or you can do what many fine folks do who need to have their question answered. You can send me a super chat and then I answer it. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, I can't answer every question I get. The rules are very simple. Like, if you super chat or you're a member, you'll get your question answered. Otherwise, I'll do the best I can. And if I don't get to your question, you're gonna have to forgive me for being human. I can't do any better than that. All right, winners. You guys ready?
You guys ready for this? We're drawing winners. I'm drawing the winners now. Luke, wait. Luke. We had one question every 46 seconds on average. Wow, that's crazy. All right, I'm drawing now. I'm drawing the winner now. Oh, look at that. Let's verify this. Looks legit. Looks legit. Hey, Fred. Fred, you won, dude. Fred, what's up, dude? You won. Congratulations. Fred's been coming to the streams for like years. He's like, oh, look, I won. Yay. I'll send you, Fred might still be here. I'll send you an email later to give you information about your giveaway, dude. Simpatico says it's rigged. It's not rigged. I literally have a tool that I pay money for that randomly chooses the winner. Simpaticos. I would threaten to kill your character, except that I know you want me to. So I won't do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're done here. Thank you so much for hanging out on the live stream. I'll see you next week. Next week should be on a Friday. So yeah, we'll see you then. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you found this fun and interesting and helpful. And you don't hate me because I didn't answer your question. All right. Bye, folks. Have a good day.